Blog Talk Radio.
Context of White Supremacy, Gus T Renegade, and Justice, and for another program to share constructive information on racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works. Did some road tripping today, still on the grind, doing the program every day for the duration of January as we're fundraising and want people to invest. They think the program has been of constructive value. Just going to be very, very busy, hopefully busy and constructive, not just being active, not want to confuse activity with constructiveness, but I hope we are doing both. And, we'll be back tomorrow. Pam, she's been with us several times, but Pam, co-author of Trojan Horse, Death of a Dark Nation, she'll be with us tomorrow. That would be Tuesday. And the showtime will be 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific. So stay tuned. Context of White Supremacy. Download the programs. I want to say that again. If you think it's constructive, any of the programs that are at either Blog Talk Radio or any of the forums where people are talking about constructive information, where you have the ability to download it, do so, because the information might not always be here. I've seen where white people have the ability to make things and or people disappear. So download the program. If you think it's constructive, download it. That way you'll have it. Want to hop right to things for broadcast for this evening. Our guest, the last time he was with us last year, a lot of people had great feedback. They really appreciated his honesty, and he spoke with us, and he said he'd be willing to come back, so I took him up on the offer. He came back in. He even allowed me to interrupt him having dinner to set up the program, so always a great thing to have him on the program. He authored the book, How to Deal with White People. You can check out his website. It's a link if you're listening at Blog Talk Radio. You can just click the title of the book. The website, if you're not at Blog Talk Radio, is dealwithwhite.com. The address again, dealwithwhite.com. Real pleasure to welcome him back to Cal's pen name, David Goldberg. We know him as Jella. I believe he's already with us. Sir, are you with us?
Yes, I'm right here. Guess what's going on?
White people are still in charge. What's going on?
Yeah, that's really important, man. You know, people don't realize that. You know, somebody said to me, right? I was pontificating about Brother Dr. Martin Luther King the other night. And somebody, you know, some real comfortable black person said to me, well, the people say, what would he fight for? And I was like, what? You know, they said, what? They said, what do you want people to speak out about, you know? And I was like, and then, you know, just like you said, white people still in power. So, it's like some people don't get that, how important that is, you know? So it's funny you said that, man. But.
Wow. As I said, we're just, you know, thankful to have you back on the program one more time. If you could, before we hop into the dialogue, if you could let folks know, in case they didn't hear the first program that we did, or if they haven't visited your website, could you tell them a little bit more about what your website and your book, How to Deal with White People, is all about?
Yes, definitely. All right, well, the book is a shorthand book. I want to make something easy for people to read where they can pick up. It's about 100 pages, I think. I didn't want to, it was really hard not to go over 100 pages, but I wanted something that wouldn't be too daunting, you know, for our people around the way to just pick up. You know, not people who are academic, or academic people can take a look at it too, but I just wanted people who might not read too much or might not be able to discuss the impact of white supremacy in the black community, our people of color. I want them to have something, you know, simple that they can read and pick up and take a look at. In the book, I try to talk about everything as quickly as possible, get in and get out, and just to spark the reader's brains and their minds about everything from white people in entertainment, white people in the workplace, ways to talk or communicate with white people. There's lots of different forms of communicating, too, aside from just speaking. Let's see, we got critics, people who like to criticize. White people, or maybe even people of color who criticize any non-white people who stand up against racial injustice. We talk about that. We talk about something that I call the trap and the mask. The trap is where people are afraid to discuss things for fear of being labeled a racist if you're black, or when we chase after white systems and when we lose our personal cultural identity. It's pretty complex, but I try to go into that a little bit, just lightly, so that people can see how deep the game goes. Then we also talk about the mask. The mask is like, when you think somebody is cool because they might like Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? You think a racist might be okay because he likes Michael Jackson or something like that. And how that really, how that ties into, observing racial injustice. And I think we go briefly into the history of a little brief history of whites and like their similar patterns around on every continent on the globe in history. Stuff white people would tell you if you ask them.
Wow. You almost say that as though some black people are afraid of talking to white people. Do you think that's true, or was I just reading into that?
That's a big one too, man. That's a big one. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think see, the afraid word, man. I gotta be careful because you wanna reach your people. You wanna talk to your people, right? And you love them, right? And you might have something to give to them that might sting a little bit, but you gotta be careful how you give it to them. You dig what I'm saying? So you don't want to say afraid. You might want to go with reluctance. You can understand the reluctance of interacting or dealing with. You can understand the reluctance of, with dealing with whites or trying to talk to white people. If you're a person of color, it just hasn't been a good ride, man. So, you can kind of understand why people might not want to discuss things, but they are guarding. They got the they in front of the gates. They got like a lot of this. They sitting on a lot of our knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So you might gotta try to learn their language a little bit to get your own stuff back from them. But yeah, I think there's some reluctance, some natural reluctance. It would only be natural. I mean, I think it would be very unnatural for somebody to just walk up and start being friendly with white people based on the history we got. Again, some white people will tell you. Natural biological patterns. Amoeba and protozoans, if they go one way and it's a negative stimuli in that direction, they're gonna go the other direction. I think, what's the guy who made Casework creator, Lee Strobel? He talks about that kind of stuff. Not to that extent, but
Wow. What?
Because we can do this all week, man. When you start me up, we can do this all week, man. It's like, no, I'm just joking, man.
What would you say for folks? They would say, hey, it's not only is it 2011. Today is the day where we are recognizing the efforts of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. We have, President Obama is in the White House. I mean,
no.
Things could.
No. All right. You know what? Okay, I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry.
People who would say we don't need a book like this. Let's look at all the celebrations and things that we had today for Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Wow. I hear that all the time, and it's just like a shot to the gut. It's like somebody punching me in the stomach. First of all, I gotta keep it. Is it alright if I keep it real around here, or do y'all gotta hold?
Please do. Please do.
All right. First of all, man, I'm so sorry for anybody that might not like what I'm about to say, and I'm respectful, and I'm sensitive to other people's feelings and stuff. I'm not just some harsh, wild, crazy dude or nothing like that. So I want to apologize in advance to anybody that might not like this, but it's the truth. I gotta say it. I can't. Just honestly, just logically, I cannot make a connection to black people civil rights and the death of Dr. Martin Luther King with Obama. Obama ain't said so much as hi to black people, man. So there's no. I don't want to. He's not part of like some black struggle at all. In fact, the whole Obama thing is like having $1 million in the bank that you can't spend. It's like, yo, like, hey, what's up? I got $1 million. Oh, straight up, what property you get? I can't really touch it all like that, but I got it though. Look, I'll show it to you. We can go in the bank. I'll show it to you, but I can't spend it. So it's like that's what the Obama's like. We got a black president. He ain't doing nothing for Kenya. He ain't doing nothing for Nigeria. He ain't doing nothing for Chicago. Nothing for LA. And unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong with this. I want to be wrong. I just heard that in Tucson, when a woman got shot, it was a white girl that got shot that was 9. And Obama went there and did a speech for her. I hope I'm wrong about that. Because if that's the case, I want to know where the F was he at when Aiyana Jones was killed. I didn't see him. I check my Facebook messages every chance I get. I didn't see him do nothing about no black people getting killed last year. Nothing. So, if anything, that's an empty phantom morale booster with the whole Obama thing. And politically, I think people probably can say, well, did you want McCain and blah, blah, blah. All right, okay, cool. Leaving that shit out, but I'm talking about just regular around the waist. Oh, I'm sorry for cussing. Gus, I didn't mean it. Let that slip out. But I just don't want to connect that as like some sort of progress with black people. That's the first thing I got to stop. All right? Gus, I don't want to keep going on. Yeah?
Wow. Now that's it. Do you think in a system of racism, white supremacy, do you think it's that President Obama did come out, and visit with Aiyana Jones' family when she was executed, or to my knowledge, he didn't make a visit to visit Oscar Grant's family either. If that happened, my apologies. I didn't see that in the news. I saw him, the moment of silence and the visit and everything, and the white terrorism in Arizona claims of white lives. I saw all that. I just didn't see it for the other folks if it did happen. Do you think white people, very powerful white people, may have told him, hey, we are not going out here for Aiyana Jones or any other black people. Should they be, executed, shot 40 times, whatever. You're not going out to hang out with them. These white people, that's okay. Do you think maybe they told him that?
All right, now, I don't want to sound like my man, Steve Coakley. No, I'm just joking. I look up to Steve Coakley, man. You know what Steve Coakley is?
I have seen some of his work. I actually should be trying to probably get him on the program at some point.
Yeah, that's not my old head. I don't know him personally, but I look up to his work. But I mean, he goes into a lot of different theories. So I don't want to speculate and talk about theories like, well, this person said to Obama, don't do this at 7 o'clock on this day. I don't know that kind of information. I'm not privy to that sort of intel. I don't know that. What I do know is historic patterns. Logically, white people ain't really gave a Can I cuss on here or not really? Like, is this PG-13 or R or XXX? Gus?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't hear me. I said, can I cuss on here? Is this PG-13 R or is it XXX?
We had a fifth grader call the show on Saturday, so I'm kind of reluctant to give people the free reign to roam.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm just saying, but just looking at historic patterns, white people ain't really gave insert a cuss word about black people's causes in our feelings. If you got, and again, this is something that's really important to me to get across. I try to be light about stuff, man, because I got to live life, and I don't want to be down 24 hours a day. But this is really important. This is something that I want to get across to everybody that's listening that's a person of color. Taking good guys and bad guys out of the situation, right? Just looking at the laws of averages. If you got all purple people doing something or running or controlling something, who are they going to look out for? All purple people. You dig what I'm saying? Even if they pick a token green person, so assume now, in their analogy, we're the green people, but, even if they pick a token green person to run a purple program, the purple people are white people, then it's like, we can't expect them to really look out for, green people's interests. That's just logically taking taking, bad disrespect, taking, hatred, taking, that's just the law of averages. All people are going to look out for themselves. So it only makes sense we come up with our own stuff. Oh, I mean, it's the only sensible, logical thing to do without trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong, what some God said. It's the only logical, natural thing to do, man. If they look out for them, we should look out for us.
Wow.
So did they tell him that? Hey, I can't say that. I don't want to be, the one on tape on Monday the 17th. Where are we at, the 17th? Yeah, 17th. It's the 17th saying, well, the brother was on TV. He said he know they told. I didn't say that, man. But shit, you don't need me to say it. You know what I'm saying? You know they ain't been looking out for us. So, if they put the president of, if they make say Fox Studios, Film Studios, right? Fox Film Studios been white since forever, right? If they drop a black person at the top of a white organization, is it likely that black person who's working with and for all white people going to suddenly look out for black people? It's highly unlikely. It's illogical. It does not make any sense. But if we got our own entire program run for and by ourselves from the top to the bottom, hey, then it would be a little bit different. We could say, you think the black people told Obama not to go holler at, Matrice just in case, which is something else I ain't seen hide nor hair of him about, him talk about, But it's only natural. That's the most important. I guess that's the point I want to, sort of drive across, man,
Makes perfect sense to me. Context of white supremacy. With the white terrorism in Arizona, and I'm calling it that specifically.
Yeah.
Terrorism.
That's right.
Have you seen, or I guess just from what you've seen on the news, you're in California, you're a little bit closer to the Arizona area than myself. Have you seen anything that reeks of racism in the way this incident has been covered?
Not really. I don't really watch the news, but I do get little tidbits of news here and there online. But I haven't seen anything. And it's important. It's interesting that you bring that up because when there is a crime committed by a person of color, you see their mugshot 24 hours a day until they get tired of talking about it. I can't really. I mean, if this guy was free and walked past me, whoever did the shooting, the terrorist guy, I really wouldn't know what he looked like. I mean, I guess I could be following the news, but I don't really follow it. So, that says something right there. It's like, they haven't really, really made this guy out to be like, what Osama. People dress up like Osama bin Laden for Halloween. I mean, for Halloween. So this guy is a terrorist. People don't really. Timothy McVeigh, they don't really, know what he really looks like. So. I don't know. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen too much of the coverage, so I'm not sure. But you could tell me what's going on if I missed something that was important.
Let's see. I'll try and pick out some of the. I guess number one, just context, general context. I keep in mind Arizona, same state that did not want a federal holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. Big to do. Not that long ago, so I keep that in mind. This is Arizona. The whole new legislation about immigrants and stopping people, that's Arizona too, so I keep that in mind when this comes up. John McCain, also, who initially did not want the King holiday. Initially, he did change his mind later, but initially, he too was against the King holiday in Arizona, almost president. I keep that in mind. It seems that a lot of non-white people... Hold on one second. I want to add one more thing, very important. Please do.
The banning of ethnic studies, as in, you ain't learning about nobody but white people. If you talking that black shit, that Puerto Rican shit, whatever, that Mexican, mumble jumble, I don't want to hear it. They banned ethnic studies. We want to hear about white people only. You got to be bold to do something like that. Man. Did you know that?
Well, I thought that was in Texas. But I do remember that. Towards the end of last year. Yes, I do remember that.
Add that to the pot, man. But go ahead.
Wow. So keeping all this together, right? And in 2009, when President Obama was doing all of those town hall meetings and white people, angry white people, kept showing up with guns. One white man was arrested, not in Arizona, but he did get arrested. They had video of a black male in Phoenix, Arizona. He had an assault rifle, and he was furious with President Obama. They got this video. It's still on YouTube. It was all over television. This was in Arizona. White people were out in droves. Those Tea Party folks, they were mad as all get out in 09, pumping up and down the street with guns. So I keep that in mind, too. It seems all of these incidents just get thrown to the wayside when it's time to talk about this white terrorism in Arizona. And specifically with non-white people, it seems to be a lot of what I call white identification in terms of the little 9-year-old girl who was one of the victims, or the politician just, oh, my God, I can't believe this happened. This is such a tragedy, and just feeling so bad. It seems, I don't know, it's at least my observation, it seems that some non-white people are more caught up in this than what happened with Aiyana Jones or any other non-white victim.
Let me speak to that for a moment. Can I speak to that for a moment? Are you good?
I'm done.
I gotta, see, I'm trying to have a new approach to this stuff, man, because, I don't know, man, something ain't working, right? Because, some of the stuff is just so cut and dry. It's like, we say some of these things, and it don't click. So I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to develop a new approach to really get through to black people, man, or people of color, man. And I want to let them know I understand where you're coming from. I understand, because look, when that happens right there, right, when you know you're a person of color, right, and you get shitted on and treated like dirt forever, you got no period of history where you get treated great by white people, right? When you know this happened and you see no light at the end of the tunnel, you try to assimilate. I want people to know I recognize their game. See, because that's how it works. When somebody running game on you, when you don't tell them when you don't explain that game, they keep it up, man. They keep it up until the end of time. They keep living a lie. But you gotta tell them you know it, man. So I just feel like, man, look, I know what people of color doing, man. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, hey, we're one of you. You know what I'm saying? We're an American just like you. But look, man, you're not. All right? You're not one of them, man. And I just want to speak to that. I just wanted to say that to whoever, if somebody listening and they see somebody doing that shit, they see somebody, putting on that act, just tell them that right there, man. Say, look, man, just talk to them straight. I understand what you're going. Sometimes I got to tell brothers like that, because a lot of brothers get mad at me, right? This is funny, Gus. A lot of brothers get mad at me for the stuff I say about white people, and the brothers might have want to knock a white girl. So they get mad at me.
Can you say that one more time? You said they'll get mad at you. Say that one more time, please.
They get mad at me because they got a white girl in their crosshairs.
or
they might already have one. So everything I say, I try to lay it out really factual, so that it just removes me out of the equation. It's just like, hey, go see for yourself. But if you're the bearer of this sort of information, then people are going to take their frustration out on you, which is all right. I can deal with that. So a lot of brothers who like white girls, even though what I'm saying in reference to people of color is actual fact and it's true, they might get mad at me because of their interest in the white girl. So I gotta stop, trying to prove my point, whatever point we're talking about, and say, look, I understand what you're going through. I understand what you're going through. You wanted a white girl. You think that's the top of the pile, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just trying to refine my approach to people, man. And I think instead of just hitting people over the head, with something that's so obvious to all of us, even to them when they deny it, it's better if I, expose their game and say, look, man, I know what you're going through, man. You feeling bad because you torn, because you want to knock that white girl or whatever, but right is right and wrong is wrong with race. And that's the same thing when these people, they're trying to identify and say, hey, please include me. This is the chance for us to all be Americans. If we can unite with this tragedy. But no, it ain't gonna work like that. It never has worked like that. So I just wanted to say that if people out there, see somebody doing that next to them, they can tell them that and say, look, man, no, I'm not falling for it, dog. Or sis or whatever, you're not falling for it. And that's the truth, man. It ain't no forecasting of us really getting along and them accepting us.
Context.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Wow. Context of White Supremacy. Again, visit the website. The website, dealwithwhite.com. Again, dealwithwhite.com. Author of the book, How to Deal with White People. Going from something that caused a great deal of compassion and sympathy to the exact opposite. I think a whole lot of folks heard Lil Wayne and his recent comments about he didn't have that much concern for darker complexion, black people, black females specifically. You and I were chatting about this before the program, and you had an interesting take on this. Can you kind of share your position on this story with our listeners?
Yeah, most definitely. All right. And we can still, has my time ran out with keeping it real, or can I still keep it real for a little while longer?
Oh, you can please feel free. Keep it real for the duration of the program.
My man, cool. All right, cool. All right, boom. All right, this is what's going on now. This is what's happening. Now, Lil Wayne, right, he let it slip, right, that he ain't like no dark-skinned girls, right? That's what he says, right? A year ago, what's the boy name? Young Berg. He says the same thing, right? Kanye lets a still come out for his video, Monster, I believe. He laying up in the bed with two white chicks, right?
Whoa, I missed that. Whoa, I missed that. Whoa. I need to catch that.
It gets better, though. Now he just dropped a new song last week with him and Jay-Z, right, called Hard as an MF, called Go Ham, right? And he's bragging about the white chicks he gets, right?
Whoa!
He's bragging about the white chicks he gets, right? This all stuff happens 24 hours a day, man. This happens. This is what we go through. This is part of the media and the entertainment that's coming to our people, right? So, right. This has been going on for a while, though, man. This ain't nothing new. So now, right? Excuse me. I was thinking, right? Lil Wayne. I looked at all the videos, right? And all the videos, there's never been a dark-skinned black woman that's a lead. It's always a light-skinned girl or exotic girl. Or I was even looking at Ghostface album the other day, right? And it had like an exotic, like Asian mix kind of chick on the cover, right? And I was just thinking about it, right? And it's like the first thing, right? It's like the brothers might not like dark-skinned women. But dark-skinned women don't even like dark-skinned women. You hear what I'm saying?
Dark-skinned women don't like dark-skinned women.
Dark-skinned women don't like dark-skinned women, man. Black women don't like dark-skinned women.
How could you make that sort of statement?
All right, well, if you look at it from, you take Gucci Man, right? Let's just take somebody who ain't really, he ain't really waxing poetic on nothing. He just doing whatever he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's just out there, right? You take somebody like that. You're go shopping. He wants some Nikes, some high top Nikes with the Air Force Ones. Let the strap hang down in the back. I used to do that, right? You know what I'm saying? You want to get some Nikes. He gonna get the real Nikes, right? You're not gonna go get the Pro Wing Nikes, the Nikes from Payless. He gonna get some real Nikes, right? So he go to get a chick or whatever, right? And he got a choice between a girl with a wig on or a girl with her own hair, right? And so in a lot of these brothers' minds, it's like, well, why would I get I don't have nothing else fake on. Well, I'm gonna get that. I might as well go with this. The other thing is, naturally, we know how the media has how the media has really put white women on a pedestal. I did an article about poverty, like how celebrities like to get black children as accessories, for what do you call it? The orphans or whatever. But it's a lot of orphans, a lot of white orphans all over the planet. And I think when I was doing that article, when you type beauty and look for images, all white women come up. If you type poverty, all black children come up. Seriously, anybody's listening, if they're on the computer, do it right now. Type beauty and look at all the images of white women that come up. Just beauty in Google, and all white women come up. So you couple that, right, we should already know that people say the create. I'm just gonna go a little bit all over the place and we'll bring it all back home, right? But people say the craziest things, guys. Right? They say, do you think there's going to be a race war? Do you think there's a race war coming? Dig this, man. For the last 500 years, 5 centuries, there has been a race war. They have declared war on all people. White people have declared war on all people of color, psychologically, physically. They declared war on people of color, forever. We just haven't really struck back yet. But like with the media, that's psychological warfare right there. When you type in beauty and you yourself doesn't come up. When white comes up, you know what I'm saying? That's psychological warfare right there. And we have not fought back against that. And so, but we should know better. All these people going to Spelman, going to Morehouse, girls trying to impress their standards on brothers who might not be able to figure out or understand or have the patience for a corporate environment. They're trying to impress their standards on them. They're supposed to be so smart, but you forgot about how psychological warfare has affected black women. So why not rise up and fight against that and declare the true beauty of black women? But that doesn't really happen. The Essence cover of like the most beautiful black women came out last year or something like that. All these women airbrushed to be as light as they possibly can with all fake hair on. All of them. Every single one. None of them accepting their own and being themselves. So boom. That means the standard of beauty accepted through all cultures, even black cultures, especially through dark-skinned women, is that white women are beautiful because we haven't fought against it. So, if Beyonce and Tyra Banks and Oprah all snatch their wigs off this Wednesday, and we'll give them a day or two to do it. If they snatch their wigs off on Wednesday and rock their own natural hair, sending a strong message to all black women around the world that natural black beauty is beautiful, then everybody will value the black woman, including Lil Wayne. But he can't right now, man. He ain't a leader. He's not probably. I don't know what he is. He's probably not really thinking about trying to be like some civil leader or some academic, artistic, like, speaker or anything like that. He's just getting the girl he think is hot. And the girl he think is hot is not a dark-skinned girl. But nobody thinks the dark-skinned girl is hot, including the dark-skinned girl. They'll tell you all this kind of stuff in an argument. They might call up and say something foul and fight you. Don't fight me. Fight the magazines at the supermarket. You dig what I'm saying, Gus?
You don't think you see evidence of black females and darker black females that do value themselves and even black females in general? You don't think in 2011 black females are making a greater effort to fight back against that programming?
I think, as always, it's the same 5% poor righteous teachers women doing the same thing. Now, not the same thing, but I think it's the same. It ain't major. You know why? Because it has not broken to the mainstream. That's why. It's a lot of underground fighting. And to tell you the truth, man, no. For real, no. All the little YouTube videos, little Facebook stuff, that don't count, man. I can go to Hollywood Boulevard right now. I won't see no black women with their hair natural. Matter of fact, where can I go? I can go to Crenshaw and MLK right now. I won't see no black woman with her hair natural. That's the truth, man. I can go on YouTube. I can find a girl doing a really beautiful. I love those videos on YouTube. Straight up, I love those videos. Look, my natural hair journey. I love that, man. But they in a small minority, and it won't catch on until it's in the mainstream. Until one black figure, whether it's Michelle, whether it's Michelle Obama, whether it's Oprah, whether it's Tyra, whether it's Beyonce, whether it's any of the, even Nicki Minaj. Even Nicki Minaj. But even whoever, if one of them, just one, says black women naturally are beautiful, and just did it. And I don't mean Erykah Badu or Jill Scott. I mean somebody mainstream pop. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Like, what's the name? What? Hello?
Dang, Erykah Badu and Jill Scott, they've sold millions of records and toured all over the world and been in movies. They don't count?
They do, but they don't really touch the people. I mean, they touch the soul people. They touch people like, me. I know them, but I'm talking about it got to be somebody like Nicki Minaj. Somebody, you don't even got to have a positive message. Just to look. Just to look like True Religion jeans is hot. Being black and cool, being black is hot. Tyrone, remember, Jamie Foxx, right? Remember when he used to play Tyrone Copple, the news guy?
Oh, was this on? What was this on?
This is when he used to have his show.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't see it. I haven't seen his show.
No, it was a long, long time ago when he used to have his show. When he used to play, he used to do an impression of a news guy. And he used to rock a white wig, so not a white color wig, but a wig with white texture hair, sort of like if he was Tom Cruise or something like that. And it's like, you know, the black men, we don't do that. Black men, you know, they don't rock wigs and weaves. And it's like, you know, I don't know. I just think that it's some kind of way in the mainstream, sisters need to take a stand and declare war back on the attack on their own image. And like what's his name said, Cat Williams, he said they call it self-esteem, but you got to fix that shit yourself. He said you got to fix it yourself. So, you know, I do this all the time. You know, I take up for black women whenever I get a chance to, but, you know, it got to be black women fighting for black women over that thing. You know, other things, you know, we can unify. We can unify on everything. I don't really care. But, you know, and I'm telling you, right, this is the other thing, too, man. Brothers going to stick ups around the way, right? I'm telling you, man, them Koreans get money on the hair tip. They get money on the hair tip. They get money selling hair to sisters who hate their own hair, man. They get money doing that, man. That's like crack right there, man. That whole thing, you know?
Wow.
So, I ain't make this up. I'm just talking about it right now, but I ain't make it up, man. And that's something and bringing it back home to white supremacy, that's how they taught us to hate ourselves, and we run it with it. They don't got to teach us anymore. We run it with it.
Did you think Chris Rock's self, good hair, did you think that was an effort to combat against that programming and to send out that message that, you know, dark complexion, black females, you're beautiful and your hair is beautiful, there's nothing wrong with it, you don't need to straighten it, you don't need a perm? Do you think that film was, you know, a counter white supremacy effort?
I kind of want to say yeah, it was, and then I kind of my initial reaction when I saw it was disappointment because I felt like he was kind of like he was on the fence about a lot of things. But then that could be the sign of a good documentary where you just present the information and let people draw their own conclusions. So I was thinking that could have been the thing, but I was going through it. And then he had all of these, he had like a lot of these actresses like me, like what's her name, Vivica Fox, man. She dropped a nuke. You know, like I said, this is psychological warfare, and she dropped a nuke on black women because she got like some stuff done to her hair, and she got her nose chopped up or something like that. That's what the rumors were. But then her response was, "This. I don't know, man. When I'm really rich, I'm going to cry over stuff that makes me mad. But I could have cried about this, man, when I heard her. She said, I'm in the business. Think this, man. Think how deep this goes. She said, I'm in the business of being beautiful. And this is what I got to do to make myself beautiful. Like, God damn. You just wrote yourself off. You wrote all of the sisters off with that. But anyway, so they had like Nia Long and Raven Simone in the film, right, with the good hair thing. And it's like, you know, they was basically supporting the whole thing. And it's like, you know, Chris Rock the thing was on the fence, but I know he's a big guy, you know, and, you know, he can't be going down here with the little people and the whole underground movement. So I guess, I don't know, man, you know. I just wish that one of these dudes with a voice would say something significant and just set things on fire, man. Like Dr. Martin Luther King did. When he had the chance, he said something, and they had to kill him for that. That's something else I want to talk about, too, to honor him today, by the way. Something that I want to speak about Dr. Martin Luther King.
Let's go ahead and get to that right now. What would you like to say about Martin Luther King Jr.?
I want to say something really important about this because a lot of people, right? We live a life, right? We don't eat the same food every day. You know what I'm saying? We get a taste for something one day, we get something else the other day. We might not like the season. We might not even drink the same juice or something every day. You know? And I think that a lot of times in like the cultural aware community or the conscious, the socially conscious community, I think sometimes, and the old head told me this too, that he kind of made this division, but I think it's larger than this. But a lot of times people think they either have to pick Malcolm or Martin. And you don't really have to do that. You can pick them both, man. You dig what I'm saying? They both yours. You don't have to pick the way of Malcolm or Martin. You pick them both. You take what you can use from. You might not. Some people might not like Malcolm's rebelliousness. You dig what I'm saying? they might not like, because a lot of people know that he broke up from the nation and that, he died during that, but he was probably going to get back with the nation before he got killed. But that impulsiveness and that rebelliousness, kind of, put him on Front Street in a lot of different ways he didn't really want to be on. That he didn't want to be. Some people might not like some parts of Martin, and a lot of these brothers, when they speak, they're growing. Their fire gets snuffed out, before it's even, before that flame is even, strong as it can be. And so, they were growing, and so Martin, towards the time that they killed him, some of the things he was saying were even stronger, and there's no telling what he could have done, man. And so I don't want people to think that, Martin Luther King was some white person lover. He may have came from a different preset, a different set of principles, right? But I don't want people to think they got to pick a division between them. And I don't really. We get divided so many different ways, man. And if you really love your people, you try to find ways to unify them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I just want people to think. And also, the reason why I'm saying all that is not because it sounds nice and it's good, would make my grandma proud. But the reason that I'm saying is that we must remember they still killed them. We got to look at who got left alive. You know what I'm saying? Who got left alive and who got killed? The person that got killed is the one who was the threat. They killed Malcolm and Martin. You know what I'm saying? Who did they leave us with? And then look at our passive position today. They killed Malcolm, and they killed Martin, too. So, he couldn't have been so passive. He couldn't have been on their side if they still killed them. So I just don't want people to fall for that, man. I think, and that's the other thing, too, really important. I think they've created, the game is multi-layered, man. They do a lot of different things, man, but they create this image of Martin like he's this soft, for humanity thing. Man, he fought for black people, man. Using humanity as a justification. You dig what I'm saying?
You said he fought for black people. And
that's right.
Humanity as a justification.
Right, for why we deserve our rights. But people, it wasn't like, he was, people could say, you could twist up anything, but he was fighting for black people, man. And the rights for black folks. And I think, and he died for that too, most importantly. But I think that, they create this image and then people buy into the image. No, man, he's still your brother. Don't believe the shit don't believe the hype, man. Don't believe what they created about him. Look deeper into what he was about, man. And always remember they killed him. So they killed him and then create a soft image of what don't believe nothing they give you, man. You can't. From the first times we ever seen them. So up until tonight. So, I just don't want people to draw this division. Try to find something about Dr. Martin Luther King that you are in line with. And don't draw this division between Malcolm and Martin. I'm not really into that.
Wow. Context of white supremacy. They are both victims of white supremacy, and white people executed them both. So
correct. That's right. That's right, man. But yeah, man, the Lil Wayne thing, the Chris Rock, the good head thing, man. Yeah, it's sisters got to fight that, man. I got y'all back. Whatever y'all want to do, I'm with it. But y'all got to fight that. Y'all got to talk to each other about that. Because if I come to y'all, if any brothers come, y'all going to get all up in digging our stuff, man, about some other shit. It's hard to talk to y'all about it. Sisters got to talk to each other about that one, man. My
fault. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was go ahead. What you say? You said it seems what?
I was going to say it seems like you are placing a great importance on hair, and specifically hair for black females. That this psychological warfare on the hair battlefront is real important, and we really need to be doing more work so that more black people, more black females specifically, don't have to feel addicted to straightening and perming their hair. Why are you in that?
All right, okay, that's a good question. Now, we're going to go into something. So I don't want, everybody try to stay with us right here. I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to throw up no big algorithms or nothing like that. I'm not going to put any algorithms on the radio right now. But I just want everybody to stay with us right now. first things first. If we unified, right, and we moving as a unit, we can't have black men by ourselves and then we got to try to do something to try to convince or trick the black girls into being down with it. We got to be moving as a unit together. Half of the black family, half of the black family is the black female. Number one, right? Number two, the hair is the woman's crown. It's the top thing on the top of her body. It's the thing on the top. And if she don't like that, what is it saying about her? You know what I'm saying? Now, I understand everything, and I don't really want to be like, I want to work with the sisters, and I'd rather a sister talk about it so that I could just, so that the brothers can just, be supportive of a sister who's taking this, who's interested in taking it. Because there's never going to work with men talking about it. I'm going to tell you that now. But if sisters talked about what it means when they look in the mirror and don't like what they see, how else does that affect, the other moves they make? How honest can you be with yourself? If every morning we woke up, right, guys, if every morning we woke up and we threw a wig on the men, how crazy would that, we do a lot of, we all got different psychological things that we deal with. But let's just put ourselves in those shoes. One time a sister asked me, who do I think has it harder? Black men or black women? And I was like, black women, because they got to get up and alter themselves. They got to put, a disguise on like every morning, man. To go in to fit into these cubes, in the corporate world, or just white society. Not even the corporate world, just white society. And it's like, that's kind of hard. Brothers got to do their bit of assimilation as well. But we don't got to put no wigs on. We don't got to do like this major, what do you call it? Makeover. We got to do this makeover every morning. And so I think this affects the psyche. And then we're talking about the half of the black family. And that affects the psyche, and it trickles down. And I think that sisters have to address it, and brothers got to support the sisters as they address it. And I think that the hair is important. It's on the top. It's the first thing. And it's like, it's probably one of their most noticeable features. It ain't like their ring toenail. You know what I'm saying? It's the thing that they care about the most. And if they decide to make it something other than self, then that's a psychological battle we are losing. That's why I think it has its importance, man. And then, well, I ain't gonna say that either, but that's why I think, man.
Make sure you all visit the website dealwithwhites.com.
You know what? I was gonna say something, Gus, if I can.
Please, go ahead. I
just noticed we have so much fun on here, man. The time flies. It's like 10 to 8. So, and it's tied into the site too, by the way. So, but I was going to say, like, for people who may be visiting the site, the next article I'm going to put up is something that you were going to speak about, Gus. I don't know if you were ready or not, but just because it was getting late, I was going to jump into it. But I was going to talk about hip-hop versus black relationships. But it's not on the site yet, you guys. But you can look at the old articles. But I'm going to put that up. I'm going to put that up next because I think that's something we could probably talk about.
Okay, yeah. I had that written down too. It's in the description. So yeah, we're right on topic. Hip-hop versus black relationships. Let's hear it.
Well, if the people that are tuning in now, do you think it's also good? Well, I guess we'll do calls. I guess after this, I'll just stay on a little longer. But that's the next thing that I'm going to put up on the site. I've been so busy doing a bunch of different other things, but I like to, occasionally I write, some of the articles that people respond to and stuff on there a little bit longer. I've been just putting little thoughts on there for the last couple. I collect records and stuff, so I might put like a mix or something to go jog and health as well. I'm a big advocate for us, trying to get out and do something, writing or whatever. So I put all types of stuff in there. But the next thing that I fully write is going to be something that's been bothering me a lot. And that's current hip-hop, or current, not real hip-hop, but current pop or urban pop versus black relationships. And I think that is another piece of the war. Another piece of the war that's going on in the communities. I think that I saw the funniest thing, man. You know Soulja Boy?
I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
Yeah, okay. Listen to this. Please cover the children's ears real quick, you guys. Let me just say this real quick, and then I'm going to stop. But he had a new song out. I saw the link. I was surfing the web, and I saw a link, and I said, let me just see this real quick. So I clicked on it, and he has a song, right? Right? And the chorus goes a little something like this. It might be kind of tricky, so just try to keep up, right? It says, "Swag get at you." Hey, bitch, you let my swag get at you. That's what the chorus of the song goes, right? So I'm thinking, I know. That's what it's called. Hey, and it's like 8 times for the chorus. You know, hey, bitch, excuse my French, you guys. Hey, bitch, let my swag get at you. Over and over and over again, right? That's the name of the song, right? Hey, off the meat rack. But anyway, right? So, you know, I'm looking at this stuff, right? Now, he ain't like some, he's not like some isolated force, you know, some solo, you know, act by himself. You know, this has been going on for the longest. This has been going on since like 1996, since Ain't No Nigga came out. You know, with Jay-Z, Ain't No Nigga Like the One I Got. It's about like, what happens is, the whole rap thing is about how much tricking can you do. I don't know if the audience is familiar with tricking. Tricking is like when a guy don't really have anything interesting to say, or you know, or offer a girl, so he offers her money. It's really derived from prostitution, actually. You know, the dimes that the girls pick up are called tricks. You know, and so, but anyway, so guys, you know, so the whole Jay-Z thing, Ain't No Nigga Like the One I Got. This is going back to '96, right? You know, he's talking about how much I can buy the girl, so therefore I get the girl. That's really important. How much I can buy the girl, therefore I get the girl. 1990. These are in songs. But then you keep going, you got like songs like Money Ain't a Thing, right? Here's a lyric for Money Ain't a Thing. She likes my necklace. She started relaxing. That's what the F I call a chain reaction. So this is the stuff that's happening in our media, in our entertainment, right? Like, it's okay. The funny thing is this. I was thinking about this earlier, which I'll probably put in the article when I write it. There have been, say an artist like Fela, right? Or the Brazilian artist, right? When these people will make songs for the people about having the people rise up, the government would intervene. They would either assassinate the guys, or exile the guys. Get out of the country. You can't make music like that. It's too dangerous. It's safe. But when these guys are making music like, hey, bitch, let my swag get at you. It's been going on for 96, 2006, 2000, almost 15 years or whatever, right? Non-stop with this kind of music. No one has intervened. No one has stopped these guys, right? It's really interesting. And so, but anyway, so that was the thing. These guys are making songs about how much money they got. And then you got guys like Rick Ross, and he's talking about, I can't wait to pay your rent. And then, so what happens is, in real life, not rap video life, but in real life, black men trying to live legally, it's a little bit difficult. Logically, because all the white guys are in power. So logically, they're going to hire all white guys. So black guys trying to insert themselves into the white world are having a hard time. So that means there's more black brothers. Did I say black guys trying to insert themselves into the white world? That's what I meant to say. People probably know. But anyway, so meanwhile, brothers who ain't really got no rap video dough is having a hard time with regular sisters who like, hey, I'm the rap video girl, and this is a lot of people think that that's our real culture, and it just gets like the new Jay-Z song is about how much money he got. Again, after he's been getting money he's been talking about his money for ages. He's still talking about his money. The new song just came out last week, and he teasing other rappers. Think this, he teasing other rappers and teasing potentially the listeners. He said, y'all don't got my money. Y'all don't even got my lady's money. Still talking about the money, and that for people that are poor, you know, it creates a gigantic, you know, rift between us and unifying with the sisters. So that's just my take on it, and then I'll expand more, you know, when I pull the article together. Give us. Hello. 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 Test.
had some sound difficulties, but I got to take it. Thank you. I was listening, though.
Okay.
Wow, I totally agree on in terms of the music and the content of it being just totally about conflict between, just really conflict with black people, whether it's black people in conflict with other black people because you don't have as much money as I do or as many females as I do, conflict between black males and black females, just conflict in general.
And no one has stepped in to stop it.
How exactly? How should we be going about that process of stopping all of this degradation in the music?
All right, this is how we should go about stopping everything, not just the music. This is the black people. I say this all the time, man. I love my peoples, man, to death. They might be to death of me. I don't know. I hope not. But if you're scared to do anything, if you're scared to talk, if you're scared to get out and use your voice, you're scared to punch the police or take the police gun when you see them punch a girl and it's 1,000 of y'all and just one. If you're scared to do anything, one thing that you cannot be afraid to do, which is easy to do, is the big B. Boycott. We can boycott every freaking thing, man. We can draw. We can bring everything to a standstill, man. We can make the radio. We can boycott all radio all day long. Say, yo, put your Siri X on the radio. Siri X. Put that Siri X on. Put Aisha Sekhmet on the radio. We're tired of y'all shoveling this poison to us. We could say that or whatever we want to say. We could do, and that's just the radio. We could do it to TV. We could do it to anything where they're relying upon it. We can do it to gas. We can just do it. We can do it on the strength, right, and just make our demands after it. We can do it. We can say we boycotting. After we boycotting. What y'all boycotting? I don't know yet. We're gonna tell you give us 2 weeks. We'll tell you. Now that's what we want. Or we boycott. It don't matter. We can do something, man. But the thing that we can do for anybody that's scared, the thing that you still can do, no matter how scary you are, is you can still boycott. If you don't want to get out and march, if you don't want to be seen on the police brutality surveillances when they come out and watch us when we're demonstrating, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to be associated with that, it might mess up your job. I understand you, man. I dig where you're coming from. But you can boycott. You can boycott, man. And all of us can. And we can boycott everything. Anything we want to change, we can organize a boycott. We ain't boycotted in years, man. We ain't boycotted in years. I don't even know the last time we boycotted. We can do a major boycott and just shut something down, man. That's what I say. Other than, well, I'm not going to say that, but we can boycott, man.
Are black people ready? And this will be last question, then I'll hit the phone lines. In 2011, are black people ready to boycott hip-hop, so-called hip-hop music, in your opinion?
With the proper information, we are ready. With the proper information, we are ready. With the proper information and a proper catalyst, we are ready. With me and you saying it, and we say we got like 10,000 or 100,000 people listening, or whatever the numbers are, that might be all right. With a few people saying it on Facebook, that might be all right. But with, I know this will never happen. But let's just say someone in a position like Jay-Z or Oprah, if they said it, then it would happen. You know what I'm saying? If somebody with a voice actually used their voice, then it would happen. And then, this is another thing. As much as I can't stand the Jay-Z materialism things and all the stuff that goes on with it, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, and Puff, they have not unified and created nothing yet. They always talk about how much dough they got, man. You would think they would wisen up and unify and create something. And that's imagine if all three of them unified and said, "Yo," not saying they would do it because they benefit the most off us being blind. But imagine if they said boycott the radio. Somebody big said, "Yo, boycott the radio. Boycott it until we get it right." Whatever. But that's what it would take. We have to take someone who has a strong, influential, voice and position to say it. Because we can do it all day, and then that's excuse me. Even the actors like Will Smith, Eddie Murphy. Nobody is talking about a goddamn thing. Nobody's saying nothing. Nobody's using their voice for nothing. And that's something else we need to boycott. Tyler Perry, if these people don't want to help the black people, then we got to boycott them. So I don't know. It's probably a lot of ways, and I know it's probably a lot of people that have degrees in organizational development or something like that. A lot of us got degrees and stuff now. So somebody got to come up with something, but we could do something, man. This just ain't getting it. this ain't getting it, man. You know what makes me mad, man? I gotta tell you this. This is unrelated, Gus, but this is really where I'm at. Remember when you started the program off and you was like, white people still control everything? Remember I said, what's going to happen? You say, hey, white people still got everything in control. Remember you said that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, okay. You know what makes me mad, man? This makes me mad right here, man. All of our problems, reading, the hip-hop thing, because they peddle the illusion of success and wealth to people that's poor. That's why it looks so good. You you try to make a video in a fan, I'm sure, to Bill Gates, he don't give a fuck. It ain't gonna mean nothing. It don't mean nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? But the illusion of somebody with all this jewelry on to poor people looks really good, really attractive. So that's why it works on us. But all of our problems, reading, our self-hatred, the sisters, we got to go to work because we got to put ourselves in positions we don't want to be in. All this stuff is all money related, all economic related. And we black people that come from black Africa, and we got all the riches of the earth naturally. And guess what, man? Do you know if you go to England and you find a diamond in England, it belongs to England? If you go to Africa and you dig up a diamond in South Africa, it belongs to England? That's wrong. That's wrong, man. That's ass backwards, man. That's the kind of stuff that burns me up, man. If we had our own stuff. We don't want England's soggy ass land. We don't want Amsterdam, the Dutch, or the Belgium. We don't want y'all go back there. We got our own stuff, man. But if we took care of our own stuff, man, we wouldn't have no problems, man. We already rich. What the bull say? We already home. I don't know, but we already rich, man. We just gotta wake up and seize it. That's the thing that I can't stand about the Obama guy. He could just say that. What good is a black president if he ain't talking about nothing for us? All these black people who got crying and stuff, got T-shirts and signs that this dude in the house, he don't even give a shit about none of us, man. All right.
Context of White Supremacy. No apologies. No, but white people are the only ones who owe an apology, and I don't even want an apology from them. Wow. I didn't want to hold you up, but we did have a lot of folks who called in, so if you want to stay for a bit to take some calls, that would be great. If you don't have time, it's no worries. I understand.
No, I can play. I can stay outside for 15 minutes before I get in trouble.
Okay. I will hit the phone lines. The people that called in, it's too many of you all, so you got to press 1. If you have a question, press 1, and I will go to your line if you would like to ask our guest, Jella, author of How to Deal with White People. I'll go to the phone lines right now. Let's see, person who dialed in from a blocked number with a hand up. Your line is open. If you have a question, please go right ahead.
Can I be heard?
You have an echo. If you could turn the volume down on your computer.
Okay. Excuse me, how is the sound now? I apologize.
Let's see, check 1, 2. I think we're good. Go right ahead, sir.
Yes, I am a college student. I would like to say good evening to you and Mr. Goldberg. I'm calling to ask Mr. Goldberg, from his perspective, in the year 2011, do you think black people and other non-white people should deal with white people and the system of racism, white supremacy, in the same way that Martin Luther King Jr. dealt with white people and the system of racism, white supremacy, when he was alive in the 20th century? If so, why? If not, then how do you think black people and other non-white people should deal with white people and the system of racism, white supremacy in 2011 and beyond? That's it.
Okay. How do I think people of color should deal with them? I think that we should be a little bit. You might want to turn the radio down. Turn whatever you got going on. I hear echo. But I think that we should try some more extreme measures. more extreme measures, and I think we should be a little bit more aggressive. But I think today, I think we have fallen nearly to sleep. So I think the least we could do is with some of the stuff that Martin Luther King did. I mean, just let people know that there still is a cause. That's the least I think we can do. I mean, we have gone back past. We're not even at the Martin Luther King, the civil rights, the 60s. We're not even at that level anymore today. Seriously, if you listen to the music back then, you listen to the culture, the pride that people had back then compared to now, we went backwards. So we have not really, where we are today is not any progress. And so, and then we went in the opposite direction. So I think the least we could do is do things, the way that they did. But we should also take it further. We should be more aggressive. I think the more aggressive we are about things that we want or things that we need, the stronger the opposition will be to us. More people will be assassinated. But we got no choice but to win. We got no choice but to fight. That's what I think, man. Hello.
Yes, sir. I'm hitting the next caller. Again, if you called in and you have a question, press 1, and I can get your line. Different person called in from a blocked number. If you have a question, your line is open.
Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Gus. Good evening to you, and good evening to Mr. Goldberg. Hello. My question to you is dealing with this. You were speaking of the issue with dark-skinned black females first, and our self-esteem issue. I believe that yes, there is some issues with darker women, especially if they're heavy set and they're overweight. They tend to have some issues, but I think it's going all around. And what would be your suggestion for the black race period? Because we always tend to push the lighter complexion.
You're right.
People are,
I think the lighter. I'm sorry. Go on. I'll let you finish.
Okay, we always tend to put the people of lighter shade ahead of us because we see that in all our local elections, all of the blacks that are elected to office, they're always lighter complexion with the curly hair, the lighter complexion, etc. And do you believe that there should be a boycott for people pushing up these people who are closer representation to the Caucasian race to be representative of the black race whole?
That's strong right there. Guys, you heard that? She basically said, should we boycott light-skinned people?
No, I don't think
I'm just messing with you, sis. I understand where you're coming from, sis. I understand. I'm sorry. But okay. But if we did simplify it to that, should we boycott light-skinned people? Not necessarily like that. But I think that I think the first thing we should, because I want to answer your question, what should we do? The first thing we should do is what you just did. Just admit that this happens. People just don't even admit that it happens. People don't admit that the consistency with which light people are put in front of us is the acceptable black. That's the first thing. Everybody got to say, yo, this really does happen, man. Like molestation. They got to say, yo, it happened, man. And then I think for the sisters, if you were asking what should sisters do about that thing, or I think you may have said, what can all black people do? I think first, brothers should help find a female leader. Help find a suitable female leader, and that female leader should speak for and to the sisters. I think that's what we should do, if that's possible. I mean, I don't have an organization, so I don't want to be throwing out, do this, do that, don't do this, that's wrong. I'm not doing that. You ain't putting that on me. But this is just, from an artistic or an academic, endeavor standpoint. I think that we should encourage, the rise of a sister to speak to the sisters, because it's always going to be a rift. We all know the mythology of the Willie Lynch letter: light versus dark, men versus women, poor men versus rich women. Let the girl in. We all know the mythology of that. So we need to fight and combat that. They put their game on Front Street, so we should combat that and say, okay, we know the sister's going to fight the brothers if the brothers try to tell the sisters what to do. Let's just go around that game. That's a simple game. That's not even complex chess right there. Let's try to find a sister to talk to the sisters. That's what I think should happen. Thank you for your comment, too, sister.
You're welcome.
Somebody mailed. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I didn't know if you were there. I'm sorry.
Somebody mailed in a question. People listening on email. The question is: have you observed that black males show more attention to women with weaves or perms or wigs? That's the question from Shadow.
Have I observed that? That's a good point, too, because it's like saying, well, damn, the sisters, damn if they do, they damn if they don't. If she try to rock a little natural, little short fro, they're going to call her bald-headed, right? So she better put on a wig if she want to get noticed, right? But I think that, I think that's the early stages of the fight. That's the early stage, you know, when the iodine is just bubbling in the cup, but it ain't healed up yet. You know, that's the early stages. I think that it just takes time. It takes time to fight, to go back and fight, to reverse this process of self-hate for black women. I think it takes time to really go to get over it. I mean, we can't just, you know, just throw it out there and then say, okay, well, they don't like it. If all the girls ain't wearing weaves, I know one is going to take advantage of, you know, being the only game in town. But if all the girls ain't wearing weaves, well, the brothers going to have to pick the sisters that got their own hair and doing that being themselves. So I do. Well, we could put it like this. That's a. Sometimes people may use that excuse as a cop-out. They say, well, I ain't going to go natural because I'm going to go natural, I'm going to pick a weave. But then that just brings us back to, you know, the square one, because the girl with weave, when the white girl come around, then what's she going to do? See? You see what I'm saying? The girl with weave, she asked out when the white girl come around. So what I'm suggesting is from the roots, embrace the beauty of black women. From the roots, tear all of this BS down and go to the roots, and from the roots, raise up the beauty of black women.
I like it. I know what this is. This is our guest for tomorrow's program, Pam, co-author of Trojan Horse, Death of a Dark Nation. Your line is open. Are you there?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Welcome, Gus. Welcome. I say hello. Greetings to Gus and the guest, and to Justice, if she's there tonight. I haven't heard her yet.
She's here.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Goldberg. You've made quite a few comments about what you think black women should do regarding the acceptance of true black beauty. But I'd like to know what you think black men should be doing. And I just want to say this real briefly, because in my experience, the vast majority of... I'm sorry?
Your last statement got cut off.
Oh, I'm Pam.
You said what you think black men should do, and then it cut off.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I just found in my experience the vast majority of conscious and so-called conscious black men either have light-skinned black women or white women. So I'd like to know, frankly, I personally believe that men validate women, and that somehow some of the changes have to come from black men. So I'd like to know what you think black men should do regarding the issue of black women and their beauty problems.
So Gus, can you hear me, Gus? Gus? Hello? Is anybody there? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay. Gus, what happened to you, Gus? Oh, man. Gus, are you there? Did the call drop? All right. So, this is what I was going to say. Essentially, the question kind of boils down to, you didn't say this, and I know you can speak well for yourself, but it's like, what should black men do to fix black women's self-esteem?
No. That's not
almost.
No, what I'm saying is I hear black men constantly making the same statements that you make, but like I say, in my experience, the vast majority of black men who claim to be conscious usually have light-skinned women or women who look white or women who are white. So I want to know what should black men do to not neutralize the message that you're giving right now?
I don't know. I think I got to go back. I think that what black men should do is support a black woman who wants to speak to the sisters, because I think there's no way that any ground is going to, be made if black men talk to black women about, esteem or cultural issues. I think that sisters got to talk amongst each other first. And I don't think that men could ever really advise or discuss that, effectively and with positive results by just the man versus the woman. It's like the women have to talk about it and do it themselves. And I think that it's something that's really, really deep rooted and has to be destroyed all the way around. And I don't think that it's something that black men can do directly to black women except for support of black women who wants to speak to black women about it. That's what I really suggest. I really strongly suggest. I don't think there's anything directly there.
Sorry. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, but that's something that I think that now I don't know. I don't know who is out there, like who is out there that talks to the sisters, directly. I know that Aisha Sekhmet was out there. I know she's like a rapper, so I don't know if there's like I know Michelle. She did the book about the incarceration, the new Jim Crow. I forgot her name, but she was talking about Jim Crow. But still, she's a sister. She could probably talk to sisters too. But I think black men should support black women who want to discuss it. I think that's the best thing to kind of kind of lay off of it a little bit and let the black women discuss it.
I got a follow-up question. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think women need to talk to other women about it. That men, it might seem as an encroachment or put down if men attempt to talk directly. But are there any things that you feel black men can do in terms of their own behavior, in terms of the women that they choose, in terms of the comments that they make, and in terms of the so-called celebrity women that they praise and salivate over? Do you think there's anything that black men can do about this other than talking to black women?
And you trying to get me to say you want me to tell brothers to drop their white women? Are you crazy?
No. I'm asking, can you?
No. I'm joking. I wouldn't. No, that's not serious.
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that it other than talking to black women, do you think there's anything that black men can do constructively to demonstrate their support other than just words? Because we do a lot of talking, but are there any actions that black men can take that show their sincerity about supporting the beauty of black women and dark-skinned women other than just talking?
Well, I think that you said something else. You said something else about the trophy. You didn't say trophy mates. You said something about the girl that they picked.
The conscious black men.
The conscious black men. But you said something about the women that they pick. It's like like some sort of trophy. I forgot what you used.
No, I said basically the conscious. They seem to pick the most conscious. A lot of conscious black men pick light-skinned women or women who look white or women who are white, and they represent a great deal of the so-called conscious black men.
Yeah, but you called the women trophies or something like that.
No,
what I mean to say is that.
Okay, go ahead.
Huh?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What did you say?
No, I didn't say trophy. Okay, go ahead, though.
I know you didn't say that. You said something that meant that they were on a pedestal. You might even said pedestal, too. But you said that they're women on the pedestal. But what I mean is I think that when everything gets changed from the ground up, the black men will no longer see these women as the only. Now, light-skinned women is one thing. Light-skinned black women are one thing. I don't want to make like a war between light-skinned and black people, dark-skinned people. That's not what I want to do. But white women are a little bit different. And as the people, I guess, get closer to white, and I think that if black women change their image, I don't want to put it on black women because now I done got caught up in the gender thing. But if the image of black women is changed, not if black women change like it's all on black women, but if the image of black women is changed, then black men will begin. Everybody will begin to find a natural black woman attractive. If the image is changed, who's going to change it? Maybe it can be some black. Maybe you can put it on back on black men again and say we should take over advertising in our communities. I'll accept that responsibility. But after the image of black women as a thing of beauty must be changed, I think.
Oh, I agree. And I agree with you that women we do need to take a lot of the lead in this and be supportive. The problem is that we're just as damaged as the men, and when we don't see ourselves validated in the eyes of men by their behavior,
you know what else?
It makes it very difficult to continue that fight.
I think it's Gus, where's Gus at? Because I don't want to hang out.
Are we just talking to each other?
Gus is here. I'm listening. Do you need me to do anything?
No, I was trying to get your attention, Gus, a little while ago, because I was making a joke that we had, but I didn't know if he was around, man.
I thought you said hello. I heard you all saying my name. I thought I said something. You didn't hear me?
No, we can hear you.
No, we couldn't hear you.
Oh.
But, damn it, I forgot my point. I was going to say, this is what I was going to say. The thing about it is this, right? Is this a really gigantic problem? Sure. It's a big, big issue. It's a really gigantic, complex, long-term issue about the beauty of black women. And like I said, if you're sitting there Google and you type beauty, all white women will come up with long hair. And the same thing happened in Haiti. All the dark-skinned people in Haiti, the most attractive one is like some, the one that looks kind of like a white girl. The long flowing hair and all that kind of stuff. It's like, the whole image of black women's beauty has to be attacked, and it has to be reversed. And then, people will start to find it attractive. Like, oh, this is just as good as that, or even better. I'll tell you one thing that I don't want to, I'll tell Gus when you hang up. It's because it's a man thing. But some things that black women got, no other women will ever have.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. But I think it's a big issue that takes it's going to take a huge, just almost double the campaign or double the efforts that it took to make black people hate black women. It's going to take that campaign to make the black woman's image changed.
I agree, and thank you for taking my question. I'll get up so that other people can get up. Thank you.
It was nice talking to you.
Nice to you.
Bye.
She'll be here tomorrow. Pam, co-author of Trojan Horse, Death of a Dark Nation. You can visit the website, TrojanHorse1.com. Do you have time for the last caller?
I'll take one more.
Okay. Last caller. 909, your line should be open. Go right ahead, sir.
Greetings. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Greetings to the guest. I'd like to ask the speaker, I have you can answer either one. There's quick questions. I was going to ask you, what is the equivalent of the black male weave? Because you said that you think that black females have it worse. I just was wanting to know, do you have an equivalent that black males do that could be the equivalent of what the black females do with the wigs and the weaves? And if you don't have an answer for that question, I had another question of, do you think that, like Puffy and Jay-Z, do you think that they're afraid of coming together? And that's the reason why they haven't come together, pooled their money. It's because they're afraid. Because I've observed that white male millionaires, multi-millionaires, they're pretty savage. They're pretty brutal, and they will have, So I'm just wondering, do you think that that's the reason?
When you say that the other white men millionaires are savage, do you mean that being rich is a savage game and they would lose if they came together, or do you mean that they would be very dominant if they came together? Why'd you point out the savagery?
The savagery of who?
You said other white male millionaires. I thought that's what you said.
I said white male. I said Jay-Z and Puffy. They are around white millionaires, and I've observed for white millionaires, multi-millionaires, that they're savage. If you don't do what they say, they feel they have this entitlement, and they feel like
I got you.
I got you.
Yeah, if you don't. The consequences of the savage people that they hang around, and will make
right. They've seen it.
Them. I got you. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay, let me answer both the questions. They were very good questions. All right, boom. Now, you said, is there an equivalent to for the black male that the black sister has for rocking a weave? Now, is there something like, maybe literally like the weave that the black man has to go through? No, black men don't get up and do that, even though you got a few dudes who a couple of decades behind rocking little S-curls and jerk curls, but it ain't an epidemic. It ain't what you're going to see. You don't see that on TV or nothing like that. It ain't a regular thing. Do black men go that far with all the hair stuff? No, but there is another crippling thing. Just in case you got an argument or a debate to try to that you caught up in, where somebody might be saying, well, black men got it worse than than black women. The thing about it, the thing that black men got to go through is the acquisition of wealth. What people want to see when they see the man is how much money you got. And black men have it harder because we got to insert ourselves into a white world where they got the money. We got to do something, some kind of song and dance to get the money from them. So, hello? Hello? Yes?
You're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. So, the thing about it, I think that could be the equivalent. But I'm a guy, so I'm gonna get a girl's a handicap. Not like sisters need it. It ain't a handicap. It's protection from the man. But so I'm gonna say the girls got it harder, and I can deal with whatever you throw at me. So I'm gonna say the sisters got it harder. But no, men don't gotta wear no weaves. But if you wanted to pick something, it's the acquisition of wealth for the black male. That's something that crippled can be a little bit crippling, and something you can always attack and exploit. He's like, well, y'all ain't got no money. Y'all ain't got no money. You ain't got no money. Now, and which is what most of the black arguments are about. Well, you ain't got no money. You ain't got no job. You ain't got this, blah, blah, blah. Where you going to get money? Which is something, guys, that's probably another conversation we're going to have, again, black people and money and that whole money game, because that's a big conversation, something we got to talk about. But anyway, the second thing about Jay-Z and Puff unifying, I think that, again, I can't speak for them because I don't know them. I'm not D-Haven. I'm not like, Lil C's and nobody who got some intel. And even if I was one of those guys, I wouldn't do that. If I was their close man, I wouldn't come out and put their stuff on Front Street. I ain't into that. But just from somebody outside looking in, I don't know. I think they're just regular, shrewd businessmen, and I don't think that. I think their interest lies in getting more money, not black liberation or black this or black nothing. It's more about getting more money, and they do all that. They do all that. On a solo tip. So I think that's probably that's just what their patterns kind of, go about. You never know. Maybe the summer this year, Puff J and all of them, they'd launch, Puff J and 50, they all launch some new black distribution company or something. That would be great. But I don't see it happening. They ain't do it all this time. But I can't say why, man. I just think that they're just regular shrewd businessmen, and they're interested in themselves, which is what businessmen and what capitalism and what hustlers. He told you you're a hustler, baby. That's what hustlers is all about. Now, I'm not trying to help you. It's like, how can I eat? I know I ate already. I know I ate good about an hour ago. I need to eat more. So that's what I think, man. Here's us. Hello.
Wow. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed the program again. Yeah, we'll have to do it again. I'm sure there'll be other incidents. As long as white people in charge, I'm sure there will be something that we'll be upset about or
no doubt.
Looking to boycott. So yeah, please again visit the website and get a copy of the book. The book How to Deal with White People. The website dealwithwhites.com. You can look for some of those upcoming blog posts at the website. Thoroughly enjoyed it, sir. Thank you so much for sharing some of your Monday evening. And we'll chat it up again so you can get at our callers one more time.
Thanks for having me. And I appreciate everybody that listened, everybody that called it, man. I like that a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Lots more folks waiting. They'll be disappointed. I always like that. Leave them wanting more. So they'll be looking for you next time.
Well, yeah. Well, they can always go to David Goldberg on Facebook. I think David Goldberg, How to Deal with White People handbook on Facebook, and they can. I answer everybody's stuff. It might take me a day or two, but I answer everybody's stuff though.
Okay.
And I like to talk to people. I think because if we talk to somebody, they might talk to somebody else, and the next thing you know. Like I said, by Juneteenth or whatever, we might have a boycott on our hands. We might be able to amass some sort of wealth or something. I don't know. So I like to talk to people, man. It's all right.
Hit the website, dealwithwhites.com, and he said David Goldberg on Facebook. I think you can also just search How to Deal with White People on Facebook, and that'll probably pull it up too. So continue the dialogue. We will definitely look to have you back as long as you're willing to chat with us. I definitely would enjoy having you back on to continue the discussion.
Sure, anytime. And tell us Sister said hi tomorrow. I think her name was Pam when she get on. Hope you have a good show.
Oh, for sure. She said, Pam, if you want to wave goodbye.
Yeah. All right, okay. She might not be around. All right. Hello?
Goodbye. Hello?
Oh, bye, Pam. Oh.
Yeah, hi. Hi and goodbye.
Okay.
And I'm checking out your website as we speak.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Sure. I just offer to deal with white people. Thank you so much, sir. Have a fantastic Monday evening, and we will be in touch soon.
All right. Okay. Take it easy, guys. Thank you again, man.
Yes, sir. Be well.
All right. Peace. Bye.
Peace. Context of White Supremacy. We'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back. I'll go to the phone lines. The person that called in from the phone line that did not get to ask your question, I'll go to your line so you can at least share what you wanted to say, and I'll make sure your voice is heard. So hang tight. We'll take a quick commercial, and we'll be right back. Context of White Supremacy.
Is racism hurting you? On issues of race, are you unable to speak, think, and act with clarity and confidence? Are you tired of laughing when nothing is funny, smiling when you are not happy, agreeing when you really disagree? At counterracism.com, you can learn specific strategies and techniques to counter the behaviors of the people who practice racism in all areas of activity. Using words correctly, following counter-racist logic, even counter-racist science projects designed to reveal what racism is, how it works, and how to counter it. The open-source code writing format allows you to pick and choose from a variety of counter-racist suggestions so you can produce the code that works for you. Stop by counterracism.com today and help replace racism with justice.
That's counter-racism.com.
Context of White Supremacy. Hope you all enjoyed the program with Mr. Goldberg, a.k.a. Jella. Please visit his website. He was on the program in November. You can go in the archives and check him out the first time he was here. I think he was here a little bit longer, so he answered a few more listener questions that time. For people who are listening at Blog Talk Radio, the image that is attached to this broadcast, that's what Google had up. It spells Google in an abstract way, but that's the image that Google had on their site today, and it was supposed to be in reference to and in recognition of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday as decreed by a racist man and racist woman. I have no idea what this is supposed to mean. For folks looking at it, it's a black female. It's children playing hopscotch, and it looks like a black female, perhaps a white boy, maybe a non-black, non-white male, could be, I'm not sure. Then it looks like there's a white boy with blonde hair on his knees in the back, and he looks like he's sitting next to a black female. I thought it was interesting that they didn't have any black males present in the image, but even if they had, I mean, still, I have no idea what this is supposed to mean, what this is supposed to represent. I was even thinking, having a day like this allows racist man and racist woman to do all sorts of little silly things that just causes confusion and makes a further mockery of justice. Little things like this. At any rate, I will go to the phone lines. The female, well, I don't even know if it's female, the person at 6522 who had a question that didn't get to ask. Your line is open if you want to share your question or thoughts. 6522, your line is open.
Hello?
Oh, it was a female. I was right. Yes, ma'am. Your line is open.
I was just curious. Does he have a white wife?
I'm sorry?
Does he have a white wife?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question.
I was thinking that the whole time because when I saw the title, How to Deal with White People, I was thinking, wait, he was on the show before, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought he said that he had a white wife. So I was calling in just to make sure. And if he had said yes, I was going to ask him, well, what made you choose, her over a beautiful Nubian queen? Because you guys are talking about Black Beauty and all that, and I'm just thinking, does he have a white wife, or am I mistaken? Is he a comedian? He's a comedian too, right?
I believe he is a comedian, but I don't recall him saying that he was married to a white woman when he was on the show last time.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be mistaken, but that was just going through my mind, so I just wanted to ask him. I'll go back to the other one. He was on November, right? So I'll go back and listen to it again, and just so I,
I would say I'm really,
think about it.
way slacking on my game. If he married a white person and said that on the last show, like, whoa, that would have changed everything.
I wanted to ask him.
Dang, that's fumbled big time. But I don't think he said that on the last program. I'll go back and listen, but I would have probably sound clipped if he had made that sort of admission on the last program.
And I would know tomorrow because you're going to have a show tomorrow, right?
Yep. Pam will be here. She's on the line now. We'll be here tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. So yeah, you can call in and let us know if Gus fumbled big time. And if I did, I will contact him immediately to have him back on the show, on the program, like as soon as possible, to clean all that up if he did. So I will correct my error immediately if that's the case. But I don't think he said that.
Okay. Is 909 on the line?
Yes. Everybody that called in with a hand up is on the line. Remember, it's the fundraiser. Please invest, folks. Thank you. Everyone who called with a hand up is on the line.
Okay. 909, you there?
Yeah, can I be heard?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you that movie, There Will Be Blood. Is that the one about the oil man?
Yeah.
That's not the oil? Okay. All right, just making sure. I downloaded it and I've been watching it. I'm at the 2-hour mark. It's pretty long. But, I just wanted to make sure that was it.
Okay. Yeah, you probably was watching it thinking, this might not be what he was talking about.
He was like, like there's just more white people, but, I see him trying to, like, take control of everybody's land and trying to get the oil. So I'm just waiting, I'm going to finish out the movie and see.
Fighting over black substance. That's already interesting. Dr. Welsing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he made his fortune, when I say it's an excellent picture, I'm thinking look at it in the context of racism, white supremacy, the black substance, the cinematography, the acting, and the premise. So hopefully, if you can, it's like a novel. It's deep. But when he makes his fortune, and you see the oil come up, the shot is him. He's basically black because he's covered in oil, and the look on his face is like he just looks like it's an incredible. He's the only one in the shot, and he's just covered in oil. And if you, like you said, you put the like you said, the black substance. I hope you, it's just
I'm gonna finish watching tonight.
Yeah, check it out, man. It's for anybody. I think it's one of the most excellent movies I've ever seen.
Cool.
And Pam. Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
No, I do apologize. But to the caller that was just on, it was Mr. Goldberg. You were speaking of Kamal Bell. He's the one, the comedian that has a white spouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's my fault then.
Well, I was going to say with Pam's question, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that for a while, and I kind of have I've acted in a codified way, just things that I can do. And what I'll do is I like to be seen with black females that are like natural, dark skin, natural. I like to take them out. I like to talk to them. If I see them anywhere, I stand and I talk to them. And it's not like on a romantic thing. Most times I try to keep it just my thoughts is just I want to be seen because I'm a black man. I'm big and I'm masculine and I just like to take out black females that are, that look a certain way so they can be seen with someone like myself. And when people see us together, I mean, they're like, they really have it makes it's like a big reaction. I can tell people look and like they're amazed. They're like, dang, like look at that, like like a lion and the lioness. You know what I'm saying? They really react to that. So yeah, that's something that I do.
909.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you? Oh yes. Hi. I'm glad that you said that because I'm a brown-skinned female, brown, whatever. Because I'm not to the darkest shade of black, but I consider myself a dark-skinned female. And I've always been attracted to dark men, either men my complexion or darker. I have never had this like to date lighter men, and all growing up, it was always seems that light-skinned men are always attracted to dark females. I don't know if it was something to stroke their ego, because as you can see, they call them the salt and pepper, because you always find that light-skinned people always end up marrying someone that's a darker shade, and most of the time, the people who are darker, they tend to hold these people up in such high esteem as if though, oh, it's an honor and a privilege that this light-skinned person took some pity upon me and decided to include me as a part of their entourage. And I've always looked at that with disdain because I've seen it in my family, I've seen it with friends, how they tend to be demeaned in those situations, and it was just something that was never something that I looked up to. I never liked light-skinned black male. Because if you do a survey, you look at all of the political operatives that are out here, you look at all of your city council members and local electoral offices, you will find that 90% of them are of the lighter shade. They are not dark-skinned people, and it seems that black people, we always tend to push these people up to the forefront to be the representation. They are black, but they are not the representation of the black race as a whole, and I wish we would cut it out and we would stop doing it. We don't want to discriminate against them, but we just don't want to keep pushing them up there to make it seem, because this is what the white supremacists want us to do. But they are not the representation of the black race as a whole on this planet.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not the darkest male, but I'm not light-skinned, so I just feel like when Pam asked what can black males do, if you see if you see a black female and she's natural, she's got she's working on her, she cut her hair and she's got a little fro and she's trying to get it to grow and do things. I mean, and especially like at the farmers market or some place like that where a lot of people are around, it's like talk to her, stop her, talk to her, let her know off point that you ain't trying to get at her or nothing. You just recognize her and appreciate what she's trying to do. And man, I mean, that goes a long way. And I start doing that I do it a lot, so I seen the reaction. So if you're a black male, man, if Pam asks what can we do, that's something that you can do. Give them some encouragement, and yeah.
And even with the black, you should do the same. Yes, please do.
This is Shadow. I agree with 909 that you should say something to a black female who's got her hair natural or who's dark skinned, because I've noticed at work that when a sister will straighten her hair or get a new weave or something, a lot of the white people and non-white people will heap praise on her. Oh, you look so nice. Yeah, I see that a lot. So, just as as Pam was saying, it's women need validation from men. So just us saying something nice to them helps.
And the same thing we have to do with the men in our family, because my nephews that I have that are darker complexion, I always make a special emphasis to let them know. I always give them extra hugs, extra kisses, let them know that they are beautiful. Like I always tell my nephew, I said, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I said, y'all are more closer to the African ancestral lines than a lot of these people out here who are more diluted. I said, so you're beautiful. I said, don't let anybody make you ashamed of your complexion. And I want to validate them, because these are the same men. If you don't do it, what they would end up doing, they will end up getting attracted to white women and become like someone like a Clarence Thomas and hate themselves. And I do not want my nephews to self-hate.
You know, Paul Mooney has a saying. He says, when your hair is relaxed, white people are relaxed. When your hair is nappy, they're not happy. So I can believe that, you know, when black women come in with their hair straightened, that they're seen as more acceptable by white people especially. And a lot of black women have been fired from jobs because they refuse to get their hair processed, refuse to take their dreads out or their locks out or shorten their natural. They've been fired. You know, I've got a little record here of about maybe 10 different cases where black women have been fired from their jobs and had to sue. There was a lady on the divorce court. Well, that's another story, but I'm just listening. So I agree with you guys.
The only black CEO that I know of a major corporation is the head of Xerox. I can't think of her name. She's dark-skinned. She has a short natural, and she's always worn her hair that way, and short and natural. So I wish more people in the corporate environment would take a look at her, see that she could make it all the way up the corporate ladder, and she's a dark-skinned female with short natural hair, and she just keeps it natural.
I mean, Gus, man, I would say the black females, get that money, man, get that money. And what I mean by that is when Gus said that it was a white female, and he made it kind of like he made sure that he said, you know, this is a white female that did this. She recorded the football players, you know, his messages and whatnot. She recorded that because she was trying to get paid, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what Gus was trying to say. Like, this is white woman's modus operandi. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. They get it on tape. So right. Yeah, you get that, man. You go with your natural hair, and people start making crazy comments or whatever, and you think that you might not have that job. Just get it on film. Ask them get it on tape. Ask them some questions. Let them say something crazy about, that looks this way, that looks that way, and have it on, you know, so you can, you know, have a little money while you're trying to find another job.
Well, you know, some women have sued. I'm not sure how many have won, but the cases I heard about because the people did sue. You know, it's going to take more than just a surface thing. You know, even our language is perverted with white standards. Like the guest, he made a statement, and I always wondered when I hear people say that, do they really understand what they're thinking? He said, a woman's hair is her crown. And I'm thinking, that sounds like, I could be wrong, but that sounds like something that white people say. And so I wonder if black people, prior to their contact with white people, saw hair as the crown. Maybe they did and maybe they didn't. I just wonder. You know, it just made me think that even our terminology is infused with white supremacy. And the surface thing, I remember when people were wearing naturals, if you had the biggest natural, i.e. the longest hair, that was the best natural. So even in our midst of trying to claim that we claim black beauty, we got to do some real serious self-revelation, and we got to admit that we've all got issues, even if we deny it. We've all got issues. We still look at things a certain way, and we might struggle with it, but until we can be honest with ourselves, and that's why I was asking him, you know, you're saying what sisters should do, but come on. I mean, I remember brothers, they love the girls with the biggest naturals. while they were claiming to be embracing black beauty. They were still going after the light-skinned girls with the biggest naturals. And if the men are still, put Halle Berry and stuff on the wall, and they don't demand of these men's magazines, hey, I want to see some dark-skinned women, because brothers, I gotta beef with you, brothers. You tell us what we should do, but then you look at who you admire, who you go to see, who you talk about is fine, who you hook up with, and what you admire about a black woman. And a lot of times it's black women that have features that are white female features. Mm-hmm. And, you got these men's magazines. If you look at the vast majority of black men's magazines, they've got Hispanic women on the cover. They've got white women on the cover. And so I say, well, what are the brothers doing? While we walk past the magazine stand as black women, and we look at these men's magazines, and they're filled with women who don't look like black women. So that's a mixed message. So I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do apologize for cutting you off, but you said the magazine issue, it reminded me of the Jet Magazine Beauty of the Week, because if you open that and you look on the inside, 99% of the women that they feature, they're light-skinned women with long hair, and they're all with European features. It's never the dark-skinned sister with a short fro, the natural that's in the Beauty of the Week.
Right. And the thing is, brothers can start making demands. They can boycott these magazines. They can write these magazines and say, I'm not going to let you destroy my mind by promoting something because it looks white. Because, frankly, the white women's beauty problems are the black man's beauty problems, because you're going to be your mothers. And the sisters coming up now who are damaged, they're going to be the mothers of the next black generation of boys. And they're going to be the women that are out here. So what I'm saying is it's not just a black female problem. It's a black nation problem. So black men need to understand that this is a problem for you, too, because you need us just like we need you. And Malcolm X, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, all of them constantly reinforce that the black man has got to protect his field, because your field is where your crops are coming from, crops meaning your children. So this is not just a black woman's issue.
What is your take, Gus?
Number one, I think Pam, when she was on the show previously, she said, an attack against one of us is an attack against all of us, and I think it would be very helpful for black people, non-white people, if we took any slight, any sort of assault, psychological, physical, any sort of assault against a black female, a non-white female, as an assault against all of us. We should just be extraordinarily intolerant of that sort of this continuing. I think he referenced it as psychological warfare. So I think anything we can do to be supportive of one another, males or females, I think it's been expressed that for females they need that validation from males. So definitely give it, to females that you think are doing constructive things. But I think also females too. I think constructive and getting positive reinforcement, I think is good from anybody. So I think just anybody being more positive with other victims. I think even males being more positive with other males, I think that would be great. I think we have a tendency to be very hostile and combative, black males, with one another. I think even that would be great. Just being able to be just supportive and encouraging to each other in general. And I also think, I was thinking this the whole time actually, I think it would be just keeping in mind the mental illness that black people have and our pathology. I would say just think, if you are in an asylum and you are surrounded by people who are suffering from mental illness, do you need their validation? I would say just think about, seriously, if really we have concluded we are in a system of white supremacy, and if that means that black people have been mentally retarded, we are suffering from mental illness as a result of white supremacy. That's what Umar Abdullah Johnson said yesterday. That's what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing has written in the ISIS papers. Mr. Fuller. I mean, long list of folks who would say, yes, that's true. Bobby E. Wright. If that's true, do you need validation from folks who are suffering from mental illness? My opinion is no. That's why I don't have a chat room. That's why I delete the comments. My opinion is no. I'm not saying it has to be an either or. I think that could actually work very nicely together, where we are concurrently conditioning black people to not seek validation from anyone. Validate yourself. Just being honest with yourself about what you need to do, what your objectives are, and if you're accomplishing them. You don't need a pat on the back from anybody. You don't need people to cheer your name and come and all these kudos or what have you. You just do the correct thing and do it for yourself. You validate yourself, and then if you get it, that's great. So I think it could work really nicely together. That would stop a lot of. I think that would stop a lot of our pathological behaviors that are just about seeking attention. I think we do a lot of things just to get that good attention, like straightening our hair. And the people they called in, everybody they called in, your line is open. 6232-4372 and 8162. Actually, I'm going to take Tater Pie, who is the most helpful, one of the most helpful listeners. She is a longtime listener. She made the Facebook page. She has suggested a ton of guests. Super helpful. She suggested that since there are a lot of new callers, if people could identify their racial classification, that would be great. So the person at 4372, are you on the line?
I am.
Okay. 4372, are you a white person or a non-white person?
I am a non-white person, female.
Okay. 1517, I have you as well. Are you there, 1517?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm a non-white person, victim of racism.
Oh, this is Dr. Muhammad, a.k.a. SinQ. Good to hear from you, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Good to hear yourself.
For sure. I'm not going to call out everybody else. Just when you speak, if you're not a regular caller, someone that, we've heard more than 10 times, just announce, this is such and such, however you want to be referenced, and I am a white person, non-white person, just so we can know that information. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to make a comment. As a black female, I don't think we should change our hair for black males. Because you may change your hair and never get affirmation from a black male. I personally feel you shouldn't care what black males think of your hair. You should do it for yourself. And I'll say this. I stopped relaxing my hair because it kept falling out, and I got tired of having patches in my hair. So as I let it grow out, I would wear wigs and different things. And then it got to a point where I had enough hair where I figured, maybe I can do something with it. And my cousin helped me figure out some products that I could use that would help it be a bit more manageable. And what I found out, when I wore my own natural hair, there was always white people up in my hair. Oh, your hair is so cute. Oh, how'd you get it like that? Oh, what did you do? A couple of black people were like, oh, that's cool. One black male was like, oh, let me feel your hair. And he wanted to touch my hair. I let him and everything. But generally, I'm glad I didn't do it looking for affirmation from black people or validation from anybody, because I'll still say most of the black males that I see around are after females, whether they be, non-white females that aren't black. They still seem to have a fascination with that type. And I have a male friend that I like him very much. We're cool. We work together and stuff. But everything I've ever seen him comment about females, he wants some Alicia Keys, Beyonce, it's the light skin, long hair, don't really look too black type. So I just think on the whole, if black females do anything with their hair, you should do it for yourself. So you can be comfortable with who you are naturally and get comfortable with all of you. Because you may never get affirmation or praise from a black male, and I don't think we should live for that either.
That's a really good point. Do it because, like Gus was saying, learn to affirm yourself.
Yep. And if somebody will love you, they'll love you for you as is.
Right. That's right.
That's what I kind of want to. I agree with that as well. It appears to me that now I have 2 daughters and a wife, and I watch them go through. It seems to me like a tremendous amount of stress to quote unquote manage their hair. You know, I hear them always talking about managing it as though it's uncontrollable. In my bathroom, we have like it's probably about 100 different bottles of all these different conditioners and straighteners and all these different kind of different things, and I'm always, every time she's buying something new, I'm like, why are you getting that? It'd be all easier if you just went natural. You wouldn't have to deal with that. Oh, my hair doesn't do that. My hair is not like that. My hair is, and I hear it all the time with every, a lot of the females that I'm talking to, when it seems like it's just a tremendous amount of stress. And it seems like if they stopped doing that, some people would be a lot happier.
When you think about it, that stress begins at the age of 4. So that's a long time to be mentally ill. So from the time you're a little girl, and I remember it, you get your ears burnt because somebody's running this piece of metal that's been sitting on fire for maybe 15 minutes. Somebody is running that through your hair, and your ears are getting burned. So it's almost like it's burned into your brain that beauty is painful, and that to be beautiful, i.e. presentable, you better not look like your natural self. So it takes more than a minute for a lot of women to, and some never overcome it. But, it's a long time to be sick.
Well, that's why we have to start with our young daughters. And the brother who just spoke about his wife and his 2 daughters, you've got to let your daughters know that they are beautiful, give them affirmation of their natural beauty, because I got to say,
the mothers, too. The mothers have to do it,
yeah.
too.
Yeah, well, I just want to say that the mothers have to do it on my end, because I've done that, and it's been like a huge, it's been totally non-constructive. Totally non-constructive. By the end of the day, it's the 3 of them. They're all ganged up on me. They're mad. They're upset. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a man. Leave my hair alone. This is my hair. And, you don't know. And
my father was the most important main figure in my life, and I loved my father to death. Whatever I wanted, I went to my father before I went to my mother, and he told me that my hair was beautiful. I never had a perm in my hair. I waited until I was 15 years old before I put a perm in my hair. It was the biggest mistake that I ever made, and when I took my perm out and I went natural, it was the most beautiful thing that I could have ever done, because I did not have to get up every morning and worry about what style I'm going to put my hair into and get out the hot combs and all of this mess to do with my hair like I was going through when I had a perm. So it's the most liberating thing that a woman can do, is to let her hair be natural.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell you one thing they don't want black women to do. They don't want to think about it. If somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember if I've ever, in the last 15 years, seen a product for black women's natural hair on television, magazines. They don't want us to do that. There's a lot of money to be lost. But also I think they know that the day black women collectively decide they don't care about the way white women look or imitating that is the day, I think, when black people are going to start getting their sanity back, in addition to other things having to happen. But I think they know that if we love ourselves, our children will love themselves, our men will love us, and then all hell's going to break loose.
And the key thing that you said, too, one of the key things is money. There'll be a lot of industries that will be destroyed on that day. On that day, there will be a lot of industries that won't be in business anymore. Right. I just wanted to say, too, that my mother, she's had locks. When she first got her locks, I was about 10. So she's had her locks for like 30-something years now. Oh. And my daughter, when she was 6, I started her off with locks. But and she because she wanted them. She said she wanted them. She didn't want to have to, go through all of the hair straightening and everything. But when she got to school and she got around all the, when she got in her teenage years and she got around everyone else telling her hair is nappy, is coarse, is is not beautiful. You don't, you need to, that whole get in where you fit in type of mentality. She couldn't take it anymore. And I tried to be there to encourage her and stay strong, but at the same time, I had my wife and my stepdaughter. They are on the same page. Oh, you need to get your hair straight. You need to get this the way you need to have it. This is more beautiful. This is the good hair.
That's too bad.
I'm thankful for the females on.
Hello, this is 8162, and I'm a black female. And I just wanted to say that the talking about the hair being the crowning glory is from the Bible, 1 Corinthians. And that quote from the Bible is, "Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man has long hair, it is dishonor to him, but if a woman has long hair, it is glory to her."
That's by Paul, yeah. And I think he was writing to some Gentiles, too.
How do we interpret that, then?
Through the lens of white people, I suppose.
No, the way I interpret it is that the crown. I agree with it. I agree with that. Whatever that was just said. To me, it makes it. I don't know. For some reason, I just agree with it. I mean, your crown, your brain sits on top of your. I mean, that's where your brain is. So, I mean, your crown. It seems to me that, yeah. I mean, if that's your brain, I mean, whatever's on. I mean, your brain is inside of the skull, and whatever on top of your head, I mean, that could be a indication of what's inside your head. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Well, the male and the female both have a brain.
Okay.
But black folks don't naturally have long hair.
Right, so how does we translate that to long hair?
But you have to look at Corinth is a Roman city. It was all under Roman occupation. So these cities identified in the Bible are talking about Europeans. Well, those in the New Testament particularly, yeah. Correct.
Oh, really? Okay.
And when you look at it, if you go look at the Greek, when it says long, it means a veil, like something that hangs down. Mm-hmm. I don't know how nature teaches that, but in the context of that scripture, it wasn't just saying what's on your head is your glory. It's saying that for a female, her hair should be long, and it's a shameful thing if a man has his hair long, so that if a woman was to cut her hair, she might as well shave it all off because she dishonors her head, which it then goes into say is her husband.
But for the Jews, the Christians have long hair. The white man with the long blonde hair and blue eyes, he has a long hair. They're not saying it's a shame for the Jesus version that they have out there to have long hair.
You're right about that. Yeah, Jesus
that's exactly what I was.
Oh, sorry.
This is Carl Noldan. That's my name. I've called in before. I'm a black male. Yeah, I would recommend a book that's called The Color Complex, The Politics of Skin Color Among African Americans by Kathy Russell, Midge Wilson, and Ronald Hall. In the introduction, it points out that intraracial color discrimination is an embarrassing and controversial subject for African Americans. While many prefer not to discuss it, especially in the company of whites, others contend that skin color bias no longer exists, that it's history, water over the dam. Yet beneath a surface appearance of black solidarity lies a matrix of attitudes about skin color and features in which color, not character, establishes friendships, degree of lightness, not expertise, influences hiring and complexion, not talent, dictates casting for television and film. In the world of entertainment, a black superstar has surgically altered his features to the point where he no longer looks black. Delve a little deeper and you will find a reservoir of guilt and anger that threatens to overflow, exposing to African Americans the truth that skin color still matters. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just read a little bit more. It says, during the 1980s, black filmmaker Spike Lee directed, produced, and starred in a musical, School Days, about obsession with skin color on a black college campus. Although he was criticized by some members of his own community for airing their dirty laundry, Lee returned to the subject in Jungle Fever, which also explored the passions of interracial sexual liaisons. In Jungle Fever, a dark-skinned black man named Flipper, Wesley Snipes, is happily married to a lighter-skinned black woman, Drew, Lynette McKee, until he becomes sexually involved with his white secretary, Angie, Annabella Sciorra. When Drew discovers the affair, her temper flares, not so much because her husband has been unfaithful, but because he has been unfaithful with a white woman. In a pivotal scene, she rails, "What I mean is you've got a complex about color. You've always had it. I never wanted to believe it until now. I told you what happened to me when I was growing up. I told you how they called me high yellow, yellow bitch, white honky, honky white, white nigger, nigger white, octoroon, quadroon, half-breed, mongrel." In telling Flipper he has a complex about color, Drew is accusing him of an old prejudice among blacks, a prejudice she knows intimately because she looks white. Traditionally, the color complex involved light-skinned blacks' rejection of blacks who were darker. Increasingly, however, the color complex shows up in the form of dark-skinned African Americans spurning their lighter-skinned brothers and sisters for not being black enough. The complex even includes attitudes about hair texture, nose shape, and eye color. In short, the color complex is a psychological fixation about color and features that leads blacks to discriminate against each other. Because the color complex has long been considered unmentionable, it has been called the last taboo among African Americans. I'm going to stop there and let other people talk and respond to what I've read.
I read that book. This is Pam. I read that book years ago, but I don't remember. Did they ever subscribe The Problem to White Supremacy? I don't remember or not. The caller that just read the excerpt, did they ever say anything about white supremacy?
I have the book. I haven't read the whole thing. I just wanted to mention the book because I thought it would be instrumental to the discussion. But it does say on the back that the color complex is a much-needed and insightful examination of color prejudices which persist among African Americans. It illustrates how deeply white racism continues to intrude on the black psyche and behavior. That was by Alvin Poussant.
I read that book. This is 8162, and I read that book as well. And Kathy Russell, who's one of the authors, she made a film called A Question of Color, and it's an excellent documentary. and she is the product of a non-white female and a white male, and her sibling came out darker. And she goes into detail in the film, A Question of Color.
Gus, are you there?
Go ahead. Over.
Gus, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, I've seen it play out a lot, even in people that I've met and know. I had a friend that was darker skinned, and her mother was light skinned, and so was her sister. They treated her pretty horribly. She was kind of messed up psychologically from a lot of the mistreatment, and they did specifically treat her badly because of her complexion. And I also met a girl from South Africa, and she looked like she probably had a white parent, but I remember asking her about racism in South Africa. Well, I was surprised because she didn't mention the white people. She said that she was considered colored and that the black people would treat her bad because they felt like she had more privileges than them, and they assumed that she looked down on them because of her skin color.
Well, that's true. So they had in the apartheid system, they had like 3 classes. One was where you had white people, and then you had colored people, and then you had black people. And the thing is, so colored people were always considered to be people who the races had deemed to be mixed. I too met some South Africans from there, and they explained that same thing. So if you were colored, if you were designated as colored, there were certain areas that you were allowed to go into that black people that were designated as black could not go into in the apartheid system. It was very much like the Jim Crow system that was here. I was also told that black people in the United States were considered to be colored if they went to South Africa. If you went there to visit, or if you moved there, but you showed that you were that you were so-called American citizen or what have you, then you'd get the designated status of being colored.
Yeah, it was pretty.
These are all tools of the racist, though. I mean,
right.
Include of course, the lighter skin against the darker skin, and dark skin against the lighter skin.
Yeah. Right. I've even had a Nigerian refer to me as half caste. It was funny because he was trying to hit on me. He referred to me as half caste, and I said to him, I ain't no half caste, but how are you calling me that when you got children in Russia with a white woman? Like, come on, dude. Are you serious?
We've got a perfect example of how the colored class is seen as more privileged, more important, more intelligent. We just elected, some people just elected him. Yep. And a lot of black people won't admit it, but they would have never voted for him. And you know who him is if he had been as dark as Wesley Snipes.
Correct. I think you're right.
The white senator said that, and he got in trouble for saying that. Mr. Fuller, he came out and said that gentleman, what he said was totally true. If he had been a little darker and he sounded a little more like Lil Wayne, he would never have made the ballot.
Can you imagine?
He was ostracized because he did reveal some truth. He was put down and shed, turned in a different way. It appears to me these days that one of the tactics of the racists is that if there's someone amongst them that reveals some kind of truth, they attack them instantly and find some black folks that they can use to brand that person a racist, so everybody else won't even investigate or even really think about what was being said.
Barack Obama even said himself that the best of him came from his mother.
Wow.
He played the card, and quite honestly, even though he might classify as a traditional colored, he's still mistreated. So I just find it ironic that anybody could think that, that because you're whatever you are, if you're not white, they're going to let you know. So I just find it amazing that we still fall for the skin color thing, because if you're half black or half white, you're still a you know what. So I don't know. I don't know. I just don't see why we still think there's some category that takes you out of harm's way when you're not a white person.
Well, I think the white supremacists use it as a tool of confusion. Because a black male told me he was sitting at the coffee shop one day and he overheard a conversation between two white females arguing among themselves, trying to figure out if Barack Obama was black or white. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Two white females arguing. Yes.
Black or white?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had to repeat it, because black or white. I didn't know if he was white.
They were trying to figure, well, would he be white or would he be black? They were trying to figure out how to classify him. Two white females.
That was a bar, right?
No, at Starbucks at the coffee shop.
They must have put some alcohol in the coffee.
Yeah.
How can they look at him and not know he's white? I know he's not.
Or they knew the black male was in earshot and they were trying to have some fun.
Oh.
I don't know.
No.
Maybe they were trying to figure out should they accept him or like him. I don't know. Maybe that was the undertone of it.
It goes on the blogs, and you read some of the blogs that they have out there for him. When he's doing what they want, they always credit it to his white side. They always say, well, he's more white than he is black. And whenever he does something disparaging, then of course they always say, well, he's a black person, and they put it down. So when the president was saying that the best thing comes from his mother, it could be a double entendre, because it could mean, okay, his mother got him up early to let him study and do his schoolwork and kept him away from radios and televisions and so on, so that he would become a good student. And then, of course, we could also look at it as seeing that he's referred to the white side being his mother because he did not grow up in the home with his father. So we have to be careful, as Gus say, with words and how you use the words. It could be classified in different ways.
Well, I think he was catering to the white people by saying that, and I think it's basically and I just have to use the word, it's a pimp game. The whole verbal thing was a pimp game. It was playing the pimp game, say the things that one group wants to hear, say the things the other group want to hear. So, and also he was more identified with his white side. He was raised by a white mother, white females, so you might believe it.
And his white grandfather as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So do you think if President Obama encouraged Michelle and Maria and Sasha to go natural?
I've seen the oldest daughter wear her natural hair. I think the younger one, I've seen her wearing it too. I think they straighten it sometimes, but I've definitely seen the girls with their natural hair, but not Michelle.
I don't think
I mean, like a presidential family portrait with all of them just being natural. What do you could start a campaign to encourage that?
It ain't gonna happen.
In a nicer world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's a nice fantasy, but
yeah, it sure is. Because
white people would lose their mind. You talk about racist cartoons. Oh my Lord! You would see the New York Post with the monkey got shot. That would be like tame in comparison to what they would see if that ever happened.
They say the White House has got Brillo heads in it. Who knows what they might
try to kill Michelle, and that's just for having brown arms and showing them.
Yeah, having nice arms too.
Buckwheat. If anybody remembers Buckwheat from Saturday Night Live, it would look worse than that. Yeah. Like they wig out.
This whole conversation is about embracing our inner buckwheat. I mean, it's like...
No, I don't think we're...
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. This is Nanny. I wanted to interject. Someone said he was raised by his white grandfather. Do you forget that President Obama was adopted by an Asian, a Filipino, I believe. Are you aware of that?
He was adopted?
No. No, that was his mother's second marriage, but he was raised by his grandparents as well. They took care of him for a major part of his life, too, and his mother didn't stay with that man.
In Hawaii, right? Wasn't he being raised by his grandparents in Hawaii?
Yeah.
And he talks about being raised by his grandparents.
Yes, and then his mother married a man from Indonesia, I think.
Yeah. And he changed his name to Barack Obama. Because when he was adopted, that was not his name.
Okay.
His father was always Obama. His mother was C.O.W.S. That was her second husband's last name. When they were living in Indonesia, they registered him on the C.O.W.S. for him to go to school, but it never was changed on his birth certificate. He was always Obama.
So legally, he was not C.O.W.S. Barry?
No, that's what he registered at school because his mother was married to C.O.W.S. when they lived in Indonesia. So
yeah, they registered under that man's name in Indonesia so he could go to school there.
Has anyone else experienced this? White people have told me to my face that they trust Obama more because he was raised by white people.
Typical.
Nobody said it to my face, but I figured that was the comfort level that was necessary to get him in the office. They couldn't have picked anybody like a Wesley Snipes. So the people that arranged his candidacy and his nomination, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew the white people's mindset, and they knew the black people's mindset. So they picked a
long time.
Right. They picked a person that would be non-threatening to white people.
Yep, Henry Kissinger and Brzezinski, they're the ones who put it together.
Right, absolutely. So I would really caution black people, and this is, perhaps I'm being a little presumptuous, but I would caution you not to tie our self-esteem or our feelings into a stranger, and to not be offended by what happens regarding a stranger who was selected by people who don't have your best interest in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's an excellent point.
Right. Have your, like Gus says, validate yourself. Too many black people have allowed ourselves to be validated by people we don't even know. Mm-hmm. So what lesson are we teaching our children? To be weak-minded. No wonder we're so vulnerable to peer pressure. We're vulnerable to peer pressure. And we're 30, 40, and 50 years old, and we're still vulnerable to peer pressure. So what chance do our kids have? I'm sorry?
How do you validate yourself? Could you give some examples for people to know how they can do that?
Well, I'm still working on it, but I will say this. I try to be honest with myself. And I don't have any magical formulas, and I hope I didn't come across as being arrogant. I'm simply saying that the last person I trust to validate me is somebody I never met. I might get validated by a boyfriend, a husband, a sister, a friend, but I don't get my validation for what happens in the public eye to people I don't know, whether they're lifted up or torn down, because I know that whole thing is a matrix, it's a game, it's a mind game. So I totally have detached myself from what happens to celebrities and what happens to famous black people, because in my mind, the only black people who nowadays are allowed to become famous or successful or wealthy are the ones who are working for the system in some capacity.
Does anybody have any examples of self-validation that they can give?
I do.
Yes.
I'm curious. I'm curious about some.
Yes, I have examples. I would start, number one, with a definition. I think validate to make valid, and to define valid as actually supporting the intended point. And I encourage victims of white supremacy to make up their own definitions, but from time to time, the definition that's in the dictionary will work. So when it does, use it. That will work. That definition, supporting the intended point. You can validate, you are the best person to validate yourself, because you, ostensibly, should know what you were intending to do at all times. You are in the best position to validate yourself. Did I do what I wanted to do? Did I do what I intended to do? And to the best of my ability. You know that result every time. With regards to examples, this program, that's why I consistently let people know, if you don't like the show, so what? If you like the show, so what? The goal, how I will validate is white supremacy, has it been replaced? That's how you validate with the show. So all that other stuff is real irrelevant. And that's helpful. That helps reducing ego. That helps reducing conflict. That helps, it just helps in a lot of different ways. Whereas I've seen where we kind of get sidetracked listening to the crowd and other people and what they have to say. So I would highly encourage it. This radio program is one example, and I would just emphasize, as a non-white person, you are the best person to judge your own personal position, what's going on in your life. You're the best person to make a judgment about what's happening for you. You should keep that in mind at all times and validate yourself.
And look, hello? Anyone there?
Yeah.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I was hello.
Yeah, in regards to the question of how does one validate themselves, I'm curious. I have a question. Would it make sense for black people in particular to validate themselves according to standards that come from African culture?
Would that make sense?
Yeah.
Not for me. I don't.
No. Doesn't make sense.
If you value that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
What you would have to define what you mean by African culture.
Yeah. Which one?
Which one? West African culture, Central African culture, East African culture? The one we created here in America? Which one?
Whichever one you choose, I suppose, versus the white supremacist culture.
Or come down with a definition of what culture is, which I think is nothing more than what one says and does, or doesn't say or do. That's all culture is. And none of it's going to help. Unless you're finding a way to create a culture that is going to reveal truth, promote justice, and help the person who needs the most help get the most constructive help they need, it's not going to matter. Some people, when they say African culture, they thought that it was going to be the clothes. They thought it was going to be the name changing. I myself thought at one time that, even though my name is not an African name, it started off as an African name, and then it just kind of evolutionized, that, so to speak, I guess, if we want to use that term, into Khalif Muhammad. But none of that helps. The changing of the names, the changing of if you decide to, because African, some African tribes like to eat with their hands, so you decide that you're going to eat with your hands now. It's still not going to change your condition as a victim. The way to validate yourself, though, is to first off accept who you are, and for what you are. You take a good long look at yourself in the mirror. Get yourself one of those full-length body mirrors, stripped down, butt naked, and stand in front of the mirror. Get you one of the little small ones so you can see yourself from behind, and look and talk to yourself. Have a conversation. Really get to know who you are. Study every square inch of your body, and really just look at who you are. Start asking yourself some questions and come down to the reality of the fact that you came into this world by yourself and you're going to leave this world by yourself. No, everybody dies alone. Everybody's born alone. If you understand what I'm saying, just come down to that reality. And you look at your skin, it's nothing more than skin. Your skin does not define who you are. It's just skin. Your hair is just hair. It doesn't define who you are. You know what I'm saying? Your eyes Everything on your body is just everything on your body has a specific purpose for a specific specific circumstance. It serves a purpose. Find out what those purposes are, and just recognize it for being that. That to me is how I validate myself.
This is Nanny. You make an excellent point about standing in the mirror naked. Most people probably cannot do that. It's very, very difficult to do. There's been a number of studies where folk were asked to do so, and they couldn't. They were embarrassed.
Oh, boy. So again, you have to overcome that. You have to, you have to overcome those. What embarrassment is an emotion. It's kind of connected to fear. And, you probably, when I say doing it, you'd want to do it, you start off trying to do it by yourself with nobody else around, where it's just you and you, and that's it. And it helps. It really does help. The more you do it, the more confident you can become about yourself, the more, because you just get to know who you are better. And when you start to know who you are, you start to see that everybody else around you does it. And it doesn't matter how much they try to tell you something, you know yourself better than they do.
What if you're blind?
If you're blind, well, now that's
yourself.
I guess we have to ask a blind person on that one, because I'm not, so I wouldn't know how to answer that one.
I would say then you feel yourself the same way a blind person would feel other people's faces and features. Accept yourself. Get to know your body, your voice, everything about you. But for self-validation, I validate myself. Am I living according to the standards and values that I feel are the highest and the best for me? Am I being true to that, or am I compromising, for things like, am I selling myself short by making a compromise and accepting the easy way out of a solution instead of challenging myself to struggle a little bit but do it on my own, knowing that would be the better choice? I guess my validation comes through, am I accomplishing goals, and am I living according to the standards that I know are best for me?
Right. That's good.
And sometimes I may not like the way I look, but I don't totally base my validation on that.
That's true, too. Yeah. Correction, because I left out that part. Definitely don't formulate it all based on your outer appearance, because who you are on the inside is a lot more. Well, the code mentions a part like that. There's a part in the section in the code where you are to ask yourself, what is your ultimate objective? And I think that can lead to self-validation as well. If you don't have an ultimate objective, then you should be figuring out what that is. And once you figure out what that is, that can help a lot in validating who you are.
Interesting. Yeah, when validating yourself, how can one determine what is the highest standard by which they can validate themselves? Like, how does one?
To your imagination.
What is it? Your imagination?
I mean, really, what are the limits to what I can think of? That should be the limit. What do I think my limits are? I think
that's something you have
to the core of validate yourself.
And I would say that's something that you have to decide, because you could validate yourself according to everyone else's standards. Like if I validated myself according to my family standards, there would be some things that I would like hit the mark on because I'm no longer a Christian.
But I have to decide of the things I've been taught, of the standards I've been told I should reach. Are those things that will work for me that I find valuable and truthful and correct? If not, then I have to decide for myself what's correct and what's valuable to me, and then I work toward attaining that and accomplishing those things and living according to that standard. But that's why it has to be your own. You'll be jumping through hoops forever and failing trying to live according to other people's standards.
Oh, well, then I because of that, I do have to be, I got to be honest that I'm still jumping through a lot of hoops, through a lot of standards that were set by the racists. Some I can see, some I'm still confused about, but knowing that's a part of the validation, I think. Yeah, the process.
I mean, the male that asked that question, he asked, how do you validate this? However you put it, did that answer make sense? The one that Gus gave, the limits of your imagination. Does that make sense to you?
I don't know what the limits of my imagination are. I mean, that's like a deep metaphysical question, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's a journey and a growth process, because as you get in different stages in life, you come to different realizations, thoughts, you process things differently. Because, like, if you would ask me 10 years ago what the limits of my imagination would be for validating myself, it probably would have all been within the context of Christianity and the doctrines of Christian teaching. So as you grow, I suppose your thought processes, imaginations, and your limits hopefully would expand.
I mean, for myself, I don't know what the limits are of my imagination, but I can't say that I've pushed the limit. You know what I'm saying? I will say that, and that's why I just man, yeah, push the limit, man. I mean, how you see yourself. I mean, I would say push the limit, man. And what you will find is that some ancient culture or some ancient people or logic or whatever, I mean, it's not even, it can't do it. It won't be able to do it. Like you'll be like way past, you'll be feeling like your imagination is past that. Like you can validate yourself by something that was, 2,000 years ago, man. You're like, I just think that's important. I think what Gus said, but I don't know. That's how I see it, man. Push the limit.
If white supremacy still exists, the limits have not been pushed far enough. Think harder.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because that's what it is. It's your imagination that's going to get you out of it, right? To help you compensate for that which is not. Somebody imagine a light bulb, and now we have them.
I'm an artist. I can speak to that.
In the dark.
I'm an artist. I can speak to that. I design costumes and I hand sew them, bead them. And I've traveled outside of the country in the same art that I do, which is very unique. It's called self-sculpture. And I've seen it in the islands. So I would think that there's some kind of cultural connection, being that I was in the South, and a lot of people there in the area where I learned the art, they were still connected to Africa, Southern Africa. And so my imagination is always stretched. It's always moving in different directions. And I'm very observant. Little things, and they become big things. And what's so great about that, and it validates me, is because I can dream up something, I can see something, and actually produce it with my own two hands.
Would you say that problem solving brings you more validation when you're able to solve a problem?
It does.
I would say that's the only thing that, I mean, that to me seems like the only validation. that you've solved the problem. You've gotten to the point, or whatever. It might not be a problem per se, but whatever your so-called goal is, or whatever your intended point to be made is, you will know it. Where you're trying to learn, or what you're trying to get to, what you're trying to create, problem you're trying to solve, you know that. So you'll be validated by how far you got in that arena.
Yeah, I think that is one of the most permanent forms of validation. Because you could chase, the type of validation that comes from, I have this status symbol, I have that. But ultimately, that stuff is shallow. If you can solve a problem, like I know I felt so good about myself when I changed my alternator with no help. Because then I knew if something happens to me, if I could do something like that, I don't have to depend on other people all the time. I have the ability to solve my own problems even if no help's available, so I won't be stranded somewhere and in danger. And I think that's one of the most permanent ways to build your self-worth, your confidence in self, and you have more knowledge of yourself because you realize you are capable of things you may not have ever thought you were capable of.
That was a very good concrete example of validation is more than just thought. It's action.
Yeah.
It's doing.
And it's something that no one else can take from you. I'm a cellist, and I was listening to this and I was thinking my music and my ability to create comes from within outward, and no one can take that from me, even if they take my instrument. And that validates me.
I was wondering, did you guys hear any speeches from Martin Luther King? I've heard some pretty radical speeches he made today.
I haven't heard them today specifically, but I have, in the past heard him say some things that you would have a tough time picking out if he said it or Malcolm X.
Exactly.
Right.
Was that toward the beginning I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me, Gus. Was that toward the end of his existence that he said it, or was it somewhere in the middle, or
It was like the last 2 to 3 years. Like if you really want to catch him, like saying some stuff where he, sounds like white people have really got on his nerves. Like when he finished the campaign in Chicago and he went north, and those white people wigged, and they have photos. They were throwing bricks. They went crazy when he came up there and tried to pull.
White people in Chicago rough.
Thank you.
We got Chicago.
Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the nation. I know. I live here.
They went crazy, and it was like he was in despair about white people. Like, oh my God, I have grossly underestimated like the degree of racism that these white people have. Like, he made comments like that. He talked about how race war. This is going to get really bad. If we're not able to figure, he has a lot of speeches. I didn't hear them today, so it's not like I just looked at this, but he has a lot of statements just about the degree of racism in white people, and moving away from sounding just like, let's sing songs and kumbaya and stuff that you hear at the march that is much more, even the statement, I think people, they quote it regularly, the tossing a shilling at a beggar. Tossing a shilling at a beggar is not compassion, but realizing that a system that creates beggars needs changing or what have. Even that is pretty like, whoa. A lot of white people I've known, they will look at that statement and just be like, wow, that's getting a little out of hand here. Like, I might have to line on this.
There's been like a massive brainwashing as to, and I think it was on purpose, to make people believe that King was a certain kind of way. When you start reading his speeches, and some of the writings that he's written, you'll see he was a lot more conscious, a lot more. The image that's been painted of him is trying to make him seem like as though he was like a so-called Uncle Tom or some kind of bougie or something. But when you when you read what he was, what he wrote in some of his speeches, like the one, not the I Have a Dream one, he was pretty, he was a counter-racist. He was really trying to do it, and he had some powerful stuff. In fact, the speech that he made the night before he was assassinated was pretty powerful. He was talking about black people going to supporting black businesses and stop going to white businesses. The whole reason for him being in Memphis was rallying around a boycott to get the black folks to stop. Hello?
No, the garbage workers strike. That's why he was in Memphis.
Yeah, he was going to try to get everybody in Memphis not to support the garbage company, and they were going to boycott like a whole lot of different businesses in order to force everybody to put pressure on the garbage company to support the workers. And but that last speech, he talks about it. He gave it at that as a church that he spoke at that night in Memphis, and he's talking about it in detail. There's a website called what's the name of that website? There's a website that like anytime you want to look for speeches that anybody made, they have them all logged on there, like where you can hear the recordings, and they even have the manuscripts where you can hear it word for word.
Oh, okay.
I just can't think of the name. What is it?
No, I think if you go to the King Memorial site, it has it. But one of the most famous ones that they don't like to talk about is the one where he says, "America might just go to hell."
Oh yeah, I think that was was that in the Vietnam War one?
Where
he spoke out against the Vietnam War?
Yeah, no, that's one, and the one with "America might just go to hell." So they don't like to talk. They don't like to play those two speeches because it's the radical king. It's not the one with Kumbaya and let's hold hands and sing together. I hate that I Have a Dream speech. I cannot stand to hear that speech.
It's like Black History Month. They take a snippet out of our history, the most watered down part. I was watching CBS News tonight, and they ran a little tiny story about Dr. King. And I tell you, they spent the whole time showing you how some white students did a research project about Dr. King visiting some white town and how good the white folks treated him in that town. On CBS News, they spent the whole time showcasing white students. I said, these people cannot let black people... I think it's getting worse. I think they're at the point now where they're not going to let black people get nothing. Not even credit. So I would highly suggest that we really start evaluating what we're going to do as a group of people, because this is not working out.
Well, you only have to look at the King Memorial that's scheduled to open in August. Look what they did. You have to blame this so-called Alpha people, who is the fraternity that Dr. King was a member of, that built that sculpture and went ahead and sent it off to China. You might as well say they outsourced this and have the Chinese to build that memorial for Dr. King. It couldn't be built by black hands in the United States. It was built by Chinese imported granite from China.
Wow. I did remember hearing that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The question I want to ask is I'm not being facetious, but all of the holidays that are about some man or person, President's Day, George Washington's Day, whatever day, even Santa Claus Day, Christmas, there are sales, and my email box is usually bombarded with all of these sales of President's Day or Easter Day or whatever day. But I didn't get one Martin Luther King Day sale advertisement.
Oh,
has anyone seen that?
No, I haven't seen any King Day advertisements.
It'll become.
I haven't got anything. Yeah.
It'll become.
Isn't that very strange?
In a few more years.
I think it's very telling as what direction this country is going in. It's going backwards. They're like, okay, the economy is bad. These Negroes. And I think that we're going to see a lot of attitudes. I mean, just the fact that you would have Dr. King and have and make it a showcase for white students, high school students doing research, it says a lot. They're pretty much wrapping it up. They're saying it's all about us. You know?
It took them 20 years to. It took them 20 years to make Kwanzaa something infected in stores. You know, where you go into a store and they have sales for Kwanzaa and stuff. Y'all seen that?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, they but then you should wonder why, because they know they can make money from off of it. So we should not allow our holidays, so to speak, to be validated by these so-called chain stores, because they are making a profit off of something they could care less about.
Right, but how will you stop them?
Don't buy it.
Don't buy it. Go for Black Panther.
You know, there's a whole lot of power. I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay.
Has anyone read, I think it was yesterday, that the Tennessee teabaggers had a list of demands to the Tennessee legislature, and one of the demands is to remove all things regarding slavery or the slaughter of native peoples from the textbooks, as well as change any wording in the Constitution that says democracy to republic.
I read it a couple of weeks ago.
Look what they did in Arizona. If you look at the state of Texas publishes textbooks that's used in 25 states, and they have already went on their campaign to sanitize the textbook, to remove slavery, the transatlantic slave trade. They have changed the name from that. They're calling it now the triangular trade. They have done a lot of things to sanitize the movement, and these are the books that our children will be using in 25 states, and it's published in the state of Texas. So you've got to be very cautious as to what these people are trying to do. They're trying to whitewash everything and to remove all of their atrocious behavior from out of the history books. So the children 30 years from now, they will have no idea as to what these white people were doing.
And Israel, a couple of months ago, found human bones that are supposed to go back where it doesn't lead to Africa. So people may have started in the area of Israel. So there's a serious campaign to wipe us out of everything.
Yeah.
And the Black Texans didn't do anything when the legislators were passing the laws on those textbooks. You didn't hear a peep. I live in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, Ben Jealous was in there because I remember he was down there a few months ago and they were protesting it. I don't know how that came along, the NAACP, but Texas is where you have to watch because they control the textbooks in the majority states of the Union.
All these to be taken, I believe, as a signal of what is happening, and that black people have to become vigilant, and we have to decide are we going to protect our children or not, or because they're making the move for whatever their reasons are, and I suspect I have an idea what they are, but they are signaling to black people constantly that the clock is turning backwards. They're not moving forward. They never did. They're not even going to pretend anymore. They're letting us know in many, many ways that clock is turning back. Did you guys hear about a couple of months ago where in the South Carolina, the Senate president of the South Carolina Senate president, he was at the fall board meeting of the women's Republican group, some kind of women's Republican group fall board meeting. He was there dressed as a slave master. I don't call him slave master, slave owner, flanked by two black men dressed in slave costumes. Now, this is not a costume party, which would have been bad enough. This was a fall board meeting of Republican women, well-educated, probably very affluent, very influential women. He shows up here, not a peep from those women, not a peep from anyone in the media other than the story was covered. So I'm saying that honestly and truly, there's a great deal of white people in this country that would love to go back to slavery, would love to go back to the physical manifestations of slavery. And we're sitting here not really understanding, I think, that things never stay the same. They either go forward or backward.
Well, you just have to listen to the broadcast that Gus did with, H.K. Edgerton from South Carolina, and it will tell you where the minds of black people are.
What was in the broadcast?
Well, this was he was a non-white black male from South Carolina who believed in the Confederate flag and all of the. You have to go to Gus' archive. It was back in December. You have to pull it up and you have to listen to it. Okay. You would think that listening to a white person, it was sickening.
Yeah. King Clayton Bixby from the Dave Chappelle show. He said that white people in the South were our brothers and sisters. He walks around with a Confederate flag, if I remember correctly.
He had an article where he said he was giving thanks to the good Southern white women who taught our ancestors how to fry chicken.
Are you kidding?
Like, I mean, he has some incredible. I mean, he just has some incredible things, man.
It's like the guy. That's like the character on the Boondocks, right?
Uncle Ruckus, yeah, Uncle Ruckus. Yeah, totally. He got in trouble. Like he apparently he goes to rallies with white people and with the Confederate flag, and he has a penchant for fondling white women, and some white people got upset about this, and they were like, he would have been in a tree,
wow.
40 years ago. I mean, it's incredible.
Didn't he give tribute to, I guess, the non-white people, the slaves who would protect the plantation when
you said that on the show.
Would leave, the racists would leave for war or something else, and then he was like, the black people who stay behind and protect the plantation are heroes or something.
Yeah, forgotten heroes.
Yep. Sam, you've got to listen to that broadcast. It would make you think, because he said the North has it all wrong. All the blacks up north, they came down here, they were interfering with what was going on in the South, and they should have left it the way it was. It's amazing.
And you say, what's his name?
Serious too. Edgerton's name. Gus, you remember what day in December? It was the latter part of December. His name is H.K. Edgerton.
H.K. Edgerton, okay. I'll see if I can stomach it. I'll try to listen.
I wondered about if he made money doing that.
I'm sure he's being paid. Let me see if I can. Oh, it was on December 16th. It was on the 16th of December was that broadcast. H.K. Edgerton.
16th, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of like the male version of the Oreo experience. But without the joke.
I think he hung up, so he didn't do a complete show. It's not a long show.
Wow.
Didn't he hang up, Mr. Gus?
He left a little after the hour mark. He got frustrated. I don't recall what the breaking point was. I think I made
couldn't handle Justice's questions.
Yeah, I think it was Justice again. And every time she would ask a question, instead of answering, he would do the Sarah suit and SETI and question back. He was defensive. He was really defensive as well.
You know, it's really hard to be as a kid.
As a boy.
It's hard to really be as a kid that's on a game. Because I think it's harder to if a kid is very direct with you and asks you a question. It's I don't know what it is, but it seems harder to just I don't know. It's like it exposes you, because she's innocent and yet she's basically telling you that you're full of it.
Well, Justice kind of got him because he asked Gus a question about what his intention was towards something, and Gus's line had fallen off. So Justice was on. And she said, was that question for me or Gus? She said, well, that's a question only Gus can answer, and he should be dialing back in right now. And then he said, well, what about you? You can answer the question. She said, excuse me. She said, no, that question's not for me. That's a question for Gus. I'm not going to answer that question because that's for him. So she wouldn't let him redirect it to her, and he did get pretty upset over that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I got to listen to that then.
Be prepared.
Yeah. What does non-white mean?
A non-white person is a person who is classified as non-white by people who are classified as white.
Yep, that's the most correct answer.
Yep, by those who classify themselves as white and practice white supremacy.
Are Indians, Native Americans considered non-white?
Yes, it depends on which you are. They have all kinds of Native Americans.
No, they're non-white.
They got white ones. They got black ones.
If they're classified as Indians, they're non-white.
The black, brown, red, and yellow are classified as non-white.
Yeah, the skin color doesn't.
Anybody else?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But the term Native American, if y'all ever, I don't know if y'all ever, they have powwows out here, in California. If you go to a powwow, you'll see more white folks claiming to be Indian or claiming to be Native American than you see non-white people.
That's what I hear. That Queen Warrior lady. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, the Queen Warrior lady that was on Sister Nefertari's show one day when they were talking about Native American people. She was fussing about the amount of white people claiming to be Native American, and she said a lot of them, if they caught a nosebleed, they'd lose all the so-called Indian blood that they have in them.
Yeah, it's a bunch. It's a very to use the term Native American. Now it's a confusing term. That's why I guess there's some codified some experiments on the counterracism.com website that you can ask a person specifically where you ask them specific codified questions to get down to the bottom line, because a racist could try to fool you and make you think that they're a non-white person by telling you they're Native American, and they're not.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to me online. They commented, it was on a video on the Ma'afa 21. And first they went on ranting about black people breeding out of control and welfare and all of that crap, which is not what the thing is about. And when I heard breeding out of control, I thought, okay, that means reproducing in a manner in which white people can't control it and they're not pleased with it. That, the language said white person. I asked them were they a white person. They kept saying they were half Native, but they never said what the other half was. But then eventually somewhere they did say that they were white. And I said, well, why were you claiming to be a Native American before now you're saying you're white? Which one is it? And they never answered the question.
Of course.
Do you think that them claiming Native American sometimes has to do with the casino money?
I was going to make that.
Not just
the land.
Yeah, land, the taxes. There's all kinds of different things.
Or just infiltration and control of non-white people, perhaps, also.
I've heard that sometimes they will claim Native American heritage, too, because, say, if a black person is calling them out on some crap and they're practicing white supremacy, they'll say, oh, I'm Native American, too, to deflect your attention off the fact that they're practicing white supremacy and make you think they're a victim, too.
Right.
Exactly. I've seen that repeatedly. One way to cut through that is to find another person you think may be white who's around, and ask that white person, or who that person thinks white, is this person who's saying they're Native American, is this person a white person or not? And, and ask multiple white people, because if other white people publicly say that this person is white who is saying they're Native American, then that's a white person as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. That's the experiment. That's the experiment that's on counterracism.com.
There's a video of that on YouTube as well.
Well, what you can also ask for is when they claim to be Native American, ask them for their CDIB number. If they don't have one of them,
they can have. You can have one of those. You can still be a white person and have identification that says you're a Native American. All you have to. It depends on who's. A lot of the tribes these days they're corporations, and so you you go through this thing where you try to prove. So you can say that you're. So that again, I guess for me, that's why I don't consider a white person being a white person because of their so-called race. I look at it more. It's more of a classification. So you can have a person who may have had their great grandparent on their daddy's side or whatever was a Apache or something, and all the way down the line, they're well, now I'm going to start getting into all that genetic stuff, which is confusing. But what I'm saying is that a white person is a person. If you go with the definition that a white person is a person who's classified as white, who classifies themselves as white, is classified as white by other people who classify themselves as white, then it eliminates some of the confusion. And I'm saying to say that people use paperwork to get status. So that ID that for to be a Native American, you can prove you can get paperwork together that says that you're Native American, and then get that stamp of approval that says here's your official Native American card, and now you can walk around and tell people. You understand what I'm saying?
But they still function as white people.
Yeah, but the person still functions as a white person, and that's all that matters. So that's why asking them if they're a white person is so critical. And then the person that mentioned getting other people around that say they're white people to find out if they accept that person as white too. That's the best way to do it.
Well, that's most of them call them $5 Indians because they bought themselves a spot on the rolls in order to be classified as Indians. Make money.
Right.
Yeah. Indians have some of the highest marrying out rates of anybody in the country. I think their rate 56% of Indians marry outside their race, probably white people. So there may be a lot of people who have been, what's the word, may have a little Indian in them. But like you said, if they function as white people and other white people recognize them as white people, they're white people. As far as
that's all that matters.
Right.
It's not only those Indians, but the ones also from India. The greater percentage of those who come over from India, they also do the same thing. Their percentages are greater that they're going to marry white also.
Well, everybody wants to marry. I mean, not everybody, but I mean, everybody's been affected by white racism, white supremacy. All non-white people have been affected by it, and they all, the same circumstances that affect us, they're affected by it too, just in different, it comes in a different form. But you have people, non-white people, from other parts of the world who encourage their children to marry a white person. Because it's the same. The white person is still viewed in the same status that everybody else sees them. They're powerful, smart. Got access to resources that nobody else does. That all of that is, if when you're, in that terrible the extreme victim state where, you say, well, hey, I want the best for my child. I want my child to marry a man. I want my daughter to marry a man. He's gonna have all the money and all the power, and he's gonna protect her. She got to get her a white man. You know what I mean? It's like that.
It's magic.
That type of mentality. Yeah, it's there we go.
Yeah. White people's
the night
magic
shining on it.
Yeah, white people have spread the concept that they are whatever they claim to be through the media. All this media that's gone across the world, and you're watching the non-white people become more confused and more self-hating because the white man's magic is so powerful. Like the Wizard of Oz, he creates this illusion of superiority, and he used the media to spread it throughout the whole planet.
Yeah,
so now
multi-billion dollars.
Huh?
I just said multi-billion dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people. There's actually some so-called Indians, from India that are in they're in a uproar right now because the magazine called Elle, That's ELLE. I guess it's a popular white woman magazine. Yeah. Yes. On this month's issue, they have an Indian actress who's very, extremely popular in India. She's on the front cover, and her face is white. She's she looks like a person, I guess we would classify, but they're in the uproar because they're comparing photos with how she really looks and then how she looks on the magazine cover, and that she's looks like she's been using some whitening cream or somebody put a lot of powder on her face or something.
A lot of it's trick photography. If you look at the black people, if you look at the magazines, the people that are brown skinned and medium and dark brown skin, they all look pale. Even the ones are not that color. If you look at black magazines, black TV shows, black advertisements, you'll see everybody's been lighting up. I don't think they're using cream. I think it's just the photography and the film editing, and they're pushing that out across the world. That that even the black people look more white. So it's I don't know. It's really.
But see, something. The key thing to remember though is it's not new. This is something that's been going on for centuries. They just find new ways to present it. It's refined, but we're dealing with the same issues. They're just refined.
Yeah, and then they have the technology now where they can spread this infection, because that's all it is. It's a mental illness and it's an infection that they can spread everywhere, because a lot of people watch a whole lot of television and they see a whole lot of movies, and so they don't even have to use weapons anymore to conquer you. They just put the TV in your house and you turn it on, and your kids are automatically, they're devastated. So,
I think that when going back to the topic of validating oneself, in my opinion, I think that culture is very important. I don't think culture should be looked at as something that is static, something that doesn't change. So I think that even the language that we're using is English, and I think that in my opinion, places limitations on how we see reality. I've studied something that points out that culture has been inappropriately equated with a number of superficial variables, like food, music, clothing, and artifacts. Although each of these items is a representation or a manifestation of culture, they are not culture in and of themselves. Culture is a complex constellation of mores, values, customs, traditions, and practices that guide and influence a people's cognitive, affective, and behavioral response to life circumstances. It furtherly points out that in essence, culture provides a general design for living and a pattern for interpreting reality. So I think that for black people to use the English language to define our reality, that places limitations on how we see reality. So I think that when validating myself, I have to look at the culture that I come from, and how that plays a role in how can I say this? How that plays a role in how I see reality. I'll stop there. There's a lot more.
Down there. Excuse me, may I be heard?
Yes, we hear.
Greetings, this is Mr. Nero.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I missed the show, but I heard something that I'm a little confused by. Can someone please tell me how are we defining validate? I mean, what does that mean?
I defined it earlier. Do you all use the same definition or
sure.
You want a different one? I defined it earlier, validate, to make valid, and I defined valid as actually supporting the intended point. Supporting the intended point. That's how I defined it earlier, validate.
And what would the intended point be?
Of
when I hear, I heard the statement to validate myself, or when I validate myself, I think I've heard that term a couple of times now, and I'm just confused as to what exactly that means. How, as a victim of racism, you can validate oneself.
The intended purpose that you have for yourself.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said the intended point or purpose that you have for yourself.
Nero, you still there?
I'm still here.
You don't understand?
I'm still not. I just don't get it.
Well, that's what you get for calling in so late, man.
No, you didn't.
Oh, wow. I want you to take that
Well, my contribution...
It was broke down pretty good earlier. I mean,
it was broke down pretty good. Yeah, because
it was broke down 100%. Yeah, but if anybody wants to elaborate,
I will listen to the
archive. Yeah, there you go.
Gus?
Yes, ma'am.
It's late where I am, but I've been wanting to ask you if you've been able to get through, or do you have any updated information about Frederick Jermaine Carter in Mississippi? Or have you been able to get through to anyone in Greenwood?
I looked online at the story. I haven't called anyone about the case, but I looked online. I did a Google News search specifically about Frederick Jermaine Carter, and I didn't really see a lot. I didn't see a lot on the whole, and I didn't really see updates. If they had any new leads, any information, is the case closed? Is that, I didn't really see much of anything. I will call his mother tomorrow. I'll call her, and I'll call the senator. I'll call both of them and see if anything has come back, because I think they said, I don't know. I want to say that they said 3 weeks with regards to the autopsy, but I don't know. I will, because it's been like a month since they won't show. So yeah, I'll call them tomorrow and see what's what.
They don't talk about it very much in the news, do they?
Not at all.
Not at all.
You know, you would think it didn't even happen.
It wasn't even reported in the main newspaper in Mississippi. I think it's the Clarion Journal. It wasn't even reported.
Wow. God.
Same state as the Scott sisters. Same state. In the same state, the governor said that he had glowing remarks for the Citizens Council in Mississippi. Same state.
Yep.
The Scott sisters, they were on the news program, and they were talking about a booklet that one of them had produced. I've been searching for trying to get a hold of that, because they were saying that one of the reasons they thought that their greater confinement was due to the history of their father, that their father had in that county. Does anybody know anything about that?
No, I don't.
That's just, okay. Well, thank you.
The history.
I'm sorry.
I was just curious. His history, meaning what? What was their father's history, if you know?
I don't know what the history was, but the sister in the interview with Soledad O'Brien had mentioned about having written a book while they were in greater confinement, and their mother had been passing it out and trying to get it out, and when they were asked as to why they got such a severe, why do they think they got the kind of sentence they did, one of the sisters had replied that something had happened, the relationship that their father had as in run-ins with the law in that community before their in their confinement.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it was in the news a few years ago that the father had a business. He had a bar or something to do with the liquor licensing, and they tried to shake him down like they do all the bars in the area. They tried the law enforcement tried to shake them down for payouts, and he refused to do it, and they told him he was going to be sorry. And that's where the setup came in with the girls and with the robbery, the $11 robbery, and why they were given such stiff sentences.
Wow.
I would like to say something that since we were talking about Indians, is the Lakota Nation. They broke all treaties with the United States. I think it's been about 3 years now. And I don't know if you've heard of Russell Means, but he's like the head honcho of this happening. And I did hear him speak a year and a half ago, and someone asked him, well, can anyone come and join Lakota Nation and live free and do all the things that they want to do? They're claiming all their land back and what have you. So my question to the folk listening tonight, well, this morning, is would you be willing to do something like that, to move to the Lakota Nation?
I don't think so.
You're still in the United States of America. You're still going to be subject to the laws within this United States, because the Lakotas, they're taking over Fort McPherson here in Georgia. If you are aware of Fort McPherson, they've already closed that base as well as Fort Gillum, and that was part of the Lakota Nation's original land. So they are going to be taking over that area.
I would have to know how Lakota people would treat me and what would their laws be. And would it be something that was, would there be any justice in it, or would it kind of be like living under white people again?
I think as long as we live in America, they're not going to let us, don't they control the Dakota people, the white people?
From my understanding, no.
They supposedly have sovereignty.
And they're within the United States borders?
Yeah,
well, that's part of the treaties, part of the deal, that they're sovereign nations. And one of the problems is that they're short on numbers to hold their ground. A few years ago, Congress tried to say that a tribe that has less than 200 members is extinct and no longer, in the United States, is no longer responsible or has to uphold any treaty signed with that tribe.
What I can do, Gus, I can get you the information to the chief that's out here. His name is Gary Spotted Owl. I can get you the information. Perhaps you might want to have him on the show so that he can give you information on what's going on with that nation.
That sounds great. I would be interested. It's, at least for me, I think it's important because I think this could, I think it could produce some confusion about the system of white supremacy. I just want to make sure I'm understanding when you say the Lakota, that they are a sovereign nation. Did white people exchange words with them and they came to an agreement that, you are going to be a quote-unquote sovereign nation? Is that what happened?
He went through the UN, according to what Gary was saying. He said they went to the UN and they have their own driver's license, their own passport as a sovereign nation. They do not carry the United States passport. They're going to be making their own coins. I would have to get you his information because he was on a show about a couple of months ago here in Atlanta, and he was given a complete layout as to how they went about to get this done. So I will forward you his information, his email, and phone number so that you can contact him to see if he could come on the show and explain how they went about it.
That would be great. I'm very interested. That would be great. I just want to make sure I share for folks listening in my view. Even if all this is accurate, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying even if all this is 100% accurate, under the system of white supremacy, I mean that's almost a really just depressing example that so-called Native Americans, white people made an agreement with them that they could be sovereign and will leave you alone. Like in 2011, white people made an agreement with Native Americans, okay, we'll leave you alone. And we're supposed to think that everything is okay, it's going to be all good now. White people said they're going to leave us alone. I mean, that is almost laughable that could even be said with a straight face in 2011. Like, there's no bubble, there's nowhere you can go. I wouldn't care anywhere on the planet. As long as white supremacy exists, you're going to have a problem with white people, period. And I hate pulling on the Matrix, but I can't think of a better example. It's almost like from the first Matrix when Neo is running from the agent in the subway, and he stops and he turns around and it has like the Western theme and they fight for the first time. You kind of got to get to that point where it's like, wait a minute, there really is nowhere to run. White people, they have everything on lock. There's nowhere you're going to hide, even if you think you can find some place and grow cucumbers and strawberries and just chill out and do the hippie thing or what have you, go live with the Lakota. I'm not dissing them at all. I'm just saying, white people can come and mess that up in like 2 seconds. That's what they're known for. That's their whole history. Manifest destiny this. We got to put a subway here. You got oil on your land. Oh, you got cholera or whatever. That's their whole history. You cannot run. You cannot hide. You are going to have to face white people at some point, period. But I would be very interested in having them on the show.
I would like to say to that is, added to that is, they would allow them to have their own land as much as we would be able to have our own. Anybody knows anything about the Nation of Islam, that, Elijah Muhammad and put on the back of Muhammad Speaks, or what is now known as the Final Call, that we wanted our own land because, you stripped us of everything. And so, for that, they would have to get out of several major cities and give us the cities and then support us for all the things that they stole and everything else. They will never do that. So for me even to believe that the Lakota Nation, which I know who Russell Means is because in Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm originally from, they would play his videos on the public access channel. And they wouldn't do that because they've broken treaties with most of the Native Americans, which not all of them, in the United States. So I also couldn't believe that they would even hold this agreement because they've never hold agreements. They've never lived up to any treaty.
You know what?
Thank you.
You know what I find interesting is if somebody allows you to do something, then they're still in control. You can't be equal because somebody tells you you're equal. That means that you're not equal. So the only way you're going to get that kind of sovereignty is you had to fight and die for it, and you had to defeat your enemies. So the fact that they're allowing them to do something, that's the key word, allowing. And if you look at black people's relationship with white people, it's totally different than the ones with Indians. They are never going to let go of control and mistreatment of us until they're forced to stop. They're not going to do it. They like it too much. It's a high. It's a power trip. It's genetic. It's in their DNA. And for black people to think that we can just move someplace and be okay, I'll just give you one last thing to add to that, and that is that Indians and black and former slaves do not fall into the same category. Former slaves are not citizens. I don't think Indians are either. I'm not really sure. But black people are in a whole special category. Barack Obama doesn't belong to that category because he did not descend from slaves. That's why he was able to run as president. Because we are not citizens, because we descended from former slaves, none of us could have run successfully for president. So I'm just saying, black people in America who descended from slaves are of a different category than anybody else in this country. And nobody can give you freedom. You got to take it.
And let me add on to that, too. My name is James, for anybody that doesn't know me. Usually I go on Blog Talk Radio as Black Man 37. I also want to go back on what you're saying as far as force. What we're looking at today is that they are being very blunt about what they're doing and what they're going to do. Matter of fact, what they're doing as we speak. So it is going to force us. We either going to fight back and take back our own freedom, whether it's mental or physical. I'm saying this, so I don't want anybody blaming Gus for what I'm saying. I'm saying this. They are forcing us to a point where we are going to have to come to it's going to be a physical battle. Why? Because all the evidence proves, according to what I'm seeing, that they are pushing the envelope. Because the next final move for them, from what I see, is it's going to be a physical confrontation. Because they're not moving everything like they want to, fast enough, as far as I'm concerned. And it seems like the only way we're really going to have to get back in order and get under a code of conduct that will allow us to be completely free. They're forcing us to do it. We either going to get in line and get everything together, or we're just going to be just completely destroyed.
Yeah, Reverend Johnson talked about it last night, that black people are going to have to form alliances with African people. We, in this country, do not manufacture, make. We can't feed ourselves. We can't employ ourselves. We don't do anything. We're consumers. We're a consumer class race of people. Even foreigners off the boat have to provide what we need in our community. So we've got to build alliances outside of this country and get into a whole different mindset. I agree with you. I think that the envelope is getting pushed. They're demonstrating that they are moving in a certain direction, and they're using scapegoats, black people in positions of power, to enroute and basically act like scapegoats for white rage. And white rage is building and building and building, and it's being directed at these black scapegoats who are only there to be scapegoats. And so black people, the country's going to move in a direction, and we've got to start forming alliances with people outside the country.
Hang on one second. I just got a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think President Obama could be such a scapegoat?
Oh, he's a combination scapegoat and sleeping pill. He put the masses of black people back to sleep after Hurricane Katrina. We forgot all about Hurricane Katrina. Katrina was the biggest single example in the 21st century of where black people stood in this country. They let us sit on a roof for 4 days. They would not have done that to cats or dogs. If you had seen a newscast with cats or dogs on a roof stranded for 4 days in a flood, everybody in this country would have been clamoring and beating the doors down. How can you let that happen? They let us sit out there in the water and rot. They told us who we were. They called us refugees. President Bush turned down every single offer of help from outside the nation and said, we'll handle it ourselves. Well, they did handle it. They got the people off that land. They disenfranchised them. Katrina was I think, 1 million people. I forget how many people. It was the largest single displacement of African Americans in U.S. history since the Civil War. We got a wake-up call that day. Obama comes along, and now we're back asleep. Yeah, he is a scapegoat. Absolutely. Racism increased after Obama, at least overt racism. So he's a scapegoat. Absolutely.
Well, that goes back to what Fuller said, though. Neely Fuller Jr. stated that, if I'm correct, that he would be used as a tool, what he called racial showcasing. He would be used as a tool to put us right back to sleep. It's about as bad as us being involved with someone who classifies themselves as white.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job of it, but I've also noticed that a lot of black people seems to me a lot of black people are becoming very disappointed because they see him as this so-called black messiah, including members of my own family, which I look at him like, you've lost your mind if you thought this man was going to get in here and do anything for us.
Yeah.
This man was not going to do anything.
We forgot everything we knew about white people. We forgot everything.
Oh,
white people don't turn over the power to somebody else.
Never. But they're showing us. See, they're showing us every day. Some of us are starting to look at it and see it for what it is. Others, that are continuously blind to this, like The Matrix. There's a classic example, like I believe Gus quoted. The Matrix is the perfect example of how this is all functioning. They even said it in there when one of the scenes where Morpheus was talking to Neo, like he was telling them the Matrix is a system, Neo. And in that system, there are people that are asleep and they're going to continue to be asleep. They don't want to be woken up. But then there are those of us who will. Well, there's some of us that don't want to be woke up. And to this day, they're still like that. So if you put somebody who's also racial showcasing to continue to get you to believe that you can be this CEO of this Fortune 500 company, or you can be this big mega star, entertainer, you go along with that if you're continuously asleep. But if you're woke, you're not going to reach that level. Because why? Because when you get to that level and you start really speaking on it and challenging them, they're going to do what they have to do to put you back to sleep or kill you, either mentally or they're just going to physically kill you.
Yeah.
And they showed examples. They will do that. And that's my spill on it.
Yeah.
I have a news flash before we all go. Walmart has now entered into Africa. It has conquered it, finally.
Oh.
That was the last place they had to go, and they've done it.
Oh, wow.
As of 12:51 p.m. Eastern Time, Associated Press.
What country are they in?
Well, it says Johannesburg here.
Oh.
So I'm assuming it's going to start in South Africa first.
Yeah, that sounds about right. They always want to move in South Africa first, so they start moving all over. The so-called integrated part of South Africa. Of Africa.
Do you think Venezuela would help black people in America? They've got weapons.
Chavez, perhaps.
Are there any other countries that
get themselves together?
I have one more question, and then I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. I'd like to know, how did Baby Doc wind up back in Haiti?
That's what I wanted to know, too.
You guys take care, and good night.
Okay,
good night. Good night.
Good evening.
That's a good question.
Okay. Answer the question as far as would Venezuela help African Americans? Well, during Katrina, the Cuban doctors were trying to come up to help us, and other countries were trying to send people over to help us. And the United States government told them no.
That's right. That's right.
Bush was like, no, you're not going to go help them darkies, no.
Because they wanted them off that land. Which,
exactly.
Think about 2004 when the tsunami in Thailand happened. There's a Department of Defense report that I happened to stumble across a couple years ago. We put it in the book, Trojan Horse, Death of Dark Nation. the list of army, military, helicopters, supplies within 24 hours, the United States military and government was rushing down to Thailand to help those people down there. In our own country, in Louisiana, they couldn't figure out how to get help to the people. That's what I say. Katrina was a wake-up call for black people. After that, should have had no questions about what our status was in this country.
Well, we can still get in contact with Hugo Chavez and see, because they're the only two holdouts that we have is Chavez and Castro. Because don't forget that Hugo Chavez, he paid off Bolivia's their debt with the IMF so that they would not be indebted to any nation.
I didn't know that.
North Korea is not a fan of the white Americans.
North Korea? You mean North Korea, correct?
Well, they got weapons. They got
that's North Korea.
Man, you want to know how ugly white supremacy is? I was speaking with non-black, non-white people about white supremacy, and we were talking about sexual intercourse with white people, and they were talking about either so-called Asian people. So, this stuff is rampant out here. And they were saying how this functions in so-called Asian countries, like they were talking about South Korea, actually. And they were saying that you end up with, like, non-white people, and then the areas where the military and there's more money, it's more built up. Now you start to see a lot more non-white people who are sexually involved with white people and white people, period. And he was just saying how this works and how white people get their set up their buffer in those areas. Anyway, switches to North Korea, and they were talking about how the wall came up, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, there's one white person in North Korea, and he has a wife and all this. He's been there since, since like the war. Something happened. He went AWOL. He was there. He was an American soldier. He went AWOL. He ran across the border, got into North Korea, and he's been there ever since. And they were like, yeah, this white guy, he's married, like, it's incredible. And we watched this documentary. It was on 60 Minutes, and it shows this white guy. He was, and I kid you not, he was like a professor, a movie star. He was married. It was crazy. It was like he was the most. In fact, they had a famine there. Died like I think tens of thousands of people died. It was really bad. This white guy still got his food rations. They pamper this guy. He's like the only white person in the whole so-called country. And, he's like a professor, movie star, married. Like, it is the most disgraceful display of white supremacy ever. So I just wanted to throw that in. I think that's an important exhibit to add to the discussion for whatever weapons they might have. And North Korea, don't you think for a minute that white supremacy is not there.
And if they got rid of that one white person, they could say we don't have any suspected racist in our country.
And if you were a white person, would you help anybody eliminate a system that rewards you from birth? So
it's hard to imagine myself as a white person.
Yeah, but seriously, we sit here, we think we can guilt them into changing, we can shame them into changing, we can boycott them into changing, we can fuss and complain and march and all this other stuff. And we honestly think, after all this time, that we're going to be able to verbally convince. They love our suffering. That's something that's hard to get a handle on, but they love our suffering. That's why they support movies like Precious. They support all this black degradation. They enjoy our suffering. So do we think anybody's going to stop making us suffer because it's the wrong thing to do?
Well, they got to enjoy our suffering because they hate themselves.
Well, whatever they're
doing. When you hate yourself so deep, you turn around and you have to think of I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam. It's just certain things they say that I have to sit back and I have to think. When you hate yourself so much, and that you're at the point where you're willing to do everything possible to try to keep somebody under your feet because of the fact that maybe because you don't have any color, because you're inferior. And you need to put white above all things. It's not so hard to believe that these people would do the things that they do. It's very easy for them to do it. That's why they can enjoy our suffering, because they're really, to me, really they look to me like they're just terrified of us. Period.
They're terrified of being of losing their control of the resources and the power they have.
That too.
Yeah,
I believe that too.
Yeah. So they have their agenda, and the question is, why do we got to stop making their agenda our agenda? We have to start acting like people who want to survive, and we're not acting right now like people who want to survive.
Yeah, but that's the hard thing to try to get us to understand that, because you go so much resistance from your own trying to tell them, look, I'm trying to tell you something that's the truth. Well, I don't believe, like, I was in a discussion with a gentleman at a show, and I was trying to explain to him that this was all planned. And he keeps trying to tell me, this is a non-white person, black person, trying to tell me, well, it's not a plan. I mean, it's just about money. I was like, wait a minute, excuse me, don't you think that when you're talking about economics, let me break it down to you as far as when you talk about this, because you're talking about money. In economics, which is number one activity in the 9 areas of activity, you're talking about at something like a business. Well, anybody understands that racism and white supremacy actually functions like a business. So they have gains, they have losses. So you're going to tell me that when you have a business, you don't have a business plan? How you're going to do this? How there are going to be losses? How there are going to be gains? Well, it's still not a plan. How is it not a plan? I just couldn't understand the rationale, or how he would slip and say, well, it's not an overt plan. Or then he'll switch it to say, well, it's not a conspiracy. Point blank, to me,
there's a lot of black
when I look at it, it's a plan.
Yeah.
But this is what you have to go through when you're in discussions with non-white people. And then another show was on. This other was talking about, because I always hear this too, the whole human race. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Not everybody is humane. So excuse me, explain to me what you mean when you say the human race. I mean, you hear these stuff coming out of non-white people, especially blacks, that it's just like, I don't see how that rational makes any sense. Or they want to tell you to stop blaming white folks for everything, you're making an excuse, or, that jazz.
Well, we're mentally ill, and we've lost empathy for our own kind. We're so white. Some of us are so white identified, we actually see the world through white eyes. And so I guess a good psychologist like Dr. Francis Welsing could do a better job of explaining it than me. But as Gus says, we are mentally ill people. And so when you look at people and you talk to them, you have to view them, the things they say sometimes through that understanding that they're not speaking as normal, rational, I wouldn't say normal, rational people, but they're speaking as damaged people. Because we're all damaged.
Yeah, I agree.
I did want to make sure I got in. We'll be back tomorrow, every day for the remainder of the month. Our guest, you just heard, Pam, co-author of Trojan Horse, Death of a Dark Nation. Showtime tomorrow will be 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific. Looking forward to a great conversation. She has been paying attention to all of these news reports about how tough it is for black females to get a husband, and we're going to get married, and woe is us, black females. Should be very interesting. I snagged those videos and put it in the description. They devoted like a whole 20-minute conversation to this subject matter with Steve Harvey, one of the more informed non-white people. But it's in the description. You can check it out. I want to play a portion of this. I'll kind of gauge. It's just real important. I was able to find that video clip that I was talking about. I want to play a portion. We have like 7 minutes left in the program. I might not play the whole thing, but I just want to play a portion of this. I want you to pay attention to Umar Abdullah Johnson talked about dealing with and accepting fear of death. I just want you to listen to what these white folks did, and just listen to the clip. I might play it all, might not. We'll see.
The ultimate runaway. Growing up an orphan in Virginia, he kept running away from abusive foster homes. And as a soldier serving on the DMZ between North and South Korea, Dresnok did the unthinkable. In 1962, he ran through a minefield and defected into North Korea, where his unthinkable act led to an unimaginable life. For 44 years, he's had a mysterious, isolated existence in that mysterious, isolated country. No one outside North Korea has heard from Joe Dresnok until now.
I'm telling you now, I just want to put a little stress. I'm telling you, I've never told no one. Anyone.
He told his story to two British filmmakers, Dan Gordon and Nick Bonner, who've made a documentary about Dresnok called Crossing the Line. It already made two documentaries in North Korea, one on that country's soccer team, another on star gymnasts training for North Korea's annual spectacle called the Mass Games. They earned the government's trust, so much so that after 6 years of trying, they finally met Joe Dresnok.
This is a man who disappeared off the face of the known world in 1962. And I went into this room, very sort of dark, lit room, and this sort of tall man in a black uniform came in and sat down and said, "Hello, boy, I gather you want to talk about making a film about me." And it would have been less surprising to have met Elvis Presley. And it was this, in front of me, sat there, Joe Dresnok, who no one has seen since 1962.
Back in 62, JFK was president and Dresnok was depressed and desperate. His wife had just divorced him, and then, after leaving his base without permission for a night of womanizing, he was about to be court-martialed.
To hell with this. I was fed up with my childhood, my marriage, my military life. Everything. I was finished. There's only one place to go. On August 15th at noon, in broad daylight, when everybody was eating lunch, I hit the road. Yes, I was afraid. Am I going to live or die? And when I stepped into the minefield and I seen it with my own eyes, I started sweating. I crossed over, looking for my new life.
North Korean soldiers.
I'm not going to play the whole thing. Even in that 2 minutes, like, man, a night of womanizing, if he was in South Korea, I assume that would be worthy of a cowbell if he was out womanizing. Walked through a minefield in broad daylight. That is white people. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good for the day and replace white supremacy with justice. You all have 4 minutes left if you want to comment on any portion of that video or if I'm praising white people.
I don't think North Korea will be an ally. Black
white people ain't afraid of nothing.
And they kill black people for fun. Well, since you all don't want to talk, I was watching the film someone suggested, The Locksmith. I don't know if that gentleman is on the line or not, but I started watching it. I didn't get very far into it, but I got far enough. Just, man, it looks just depressing. Very confused black male who's in greater confinement. They give him like a jumpsuit colored shirt to wear, so it always looks like he's in his prison uniform, even when he's not in the prison. I mean, it's just embarrassing. I've only seen 10 minutes, and it's depressing. Locksmith, that's the name of the film. It's new. I think it came out last year.
Hey, Gus, do you remember in Unthinkable, you had asked the question, you were talking about Samuel Jackson putting on he wasn't putting on a lab coat, but this dingy coat?
Right.
That was a butcher's coat.
Oh, wow. That's even better. Wow.
A butcher's smock is what it's called.
Wow. Quite an upgrade from a crackhead.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to the show tomorrow, and peace to everybody as much as possible.
Oh, Justice. Her email address is justice.asap@yahoo.com, justice.asap@yahoo.com, and her blog is justdojustice.today.blogspot.com, justdojustice.today.blogspot.com.